print symbol.
I just got the message. Ebon is live.
All right. So, I get. You know what? That'd be kind of cool. Just seeing how many we could just restream with our own little.
You know, eventually, don't you think it's going to get to that, Ebon? Maybe.
So you're stealing my likes. You're stealing my likes.
Hey, someone gave you a thumbs down.
Thumbs down, idiot.
I always get a thumbs down, dude.
I wonder who the bitch or bastard is that does that. I want to beat him up.
God, they don't like your hat, Ryan.
I couldn't give a fuck, dude.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Eric.
Hey, Eric.
Eric.
So, anyways.
Happy anniversary, Eric.
Happy anniversary.
Yeah. Anyways, so people who are joining, in the description box, it's gonna be a round robin. So Ryan started it off. Thank you, Ryan. And he's playing at level 20 World of Warcraft as a priest. I don't see what fun is that. What fun that is.
I've changed the. Hang on, let me go back to. There we go.
Just in celebration of me getting South Park.
Isn't that a cute hat, Eric?
Did you just say you had a South Park erection, Eric?
No, South Park. The fractured butthole. Since I got it on a Nintendo Switch.
I guess a fractured butthole would be similar to an erection, kind of.
No.
It's
a fart.
It's a fart. There we go. It's a fart.
I don't have a funny hat. I need to get a funny hat.
A manga hat.
There's these really cool hats that are out there. They're pink and they've got like little ears.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine me wearing one? Oh, I should do that.
For satire.
Oh yeah. You do mega. I'll do the pussy hat.
Right.
Female. Oh God. We can get into an argument, Eric.
A fake argument?
Yes. We should do
that. There's some viral shit.
They would already know because we're talking about it.
Oh yeah.
Nice one, guys.
That's fine. They can help us. They can help us write it and give us like some
satire.
Oh, just watch them. They already have provided a script for us.
Well, but the idea is to be clever and make it thought provoking to where like whoa, like you know, does that make sense? Like to where you don't want to be that person. But
oh my God, Eric, we could really mirror we could mirror back what they do. And let them see how stupid they look.
Or just talk like you know, having like own personal views on like certain things, and like people will be like mind fucked up, like what the fuck? I mean, they're talking, you know, like mainly, but you know,
like the Bizarro Land with the with what was on Seinfeld, the Bizarro Worlds, where they had the exact them, but they were nice people instead. We could do something like that. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna make me one. I know how to make them.
So are we moving, or are we we sitting here in protest?
So Ryan's keeping it streaming, but he's playing WoW and he's showing WoW and us on a small screen. I have us streaming with the same Zoom, but it's just my overall layout, which just shows the typical layout.
Oh, God.
And so whoever streams next, I could probably keep my stream going. It's just using my overlay as opposed to whoever.
Eric could stream. Rebel could stream.
Yeah.
They all can stream.
Exactly.
This one.
They all stream for ice.
We for ice cream. All stream.
Yeah, you stream ice cream. We all stream for all.
Don't cross the streams.
Just don't cross streams.
Gross.
Oh, no. It's a Ghostbuster reference, not a porn reference. Come on.
It's a porn reference.
I was thinking peeing. I didn't even go porn at all for once. Good job, girl. You're getting better.
Or worse.
All right. Just so.
All right, just so you know, I'm in the midst of taking care of. I just got back home from Portland, so like literally 10 minutes ago. So I've got some house chores that I'm going to be doing. So if it sounds like I'm moving around and there's water running in the background, that's why.
Okay.
But it's good to see you, though.
Yeah. We haven't seen you for a while.
Eric, I don't think I've seen you in, I think, 4 months, I think.
Holy crap, that's been a long time.
You know, Ryan is now a supporter of Hillary Clinton, obviously.
Yes.
Where's your NRA hat?
I somehow doubt that.
Changing hats.
Damn it. I should go get my knitting needles and make one. I don't even have pink yarn, though.
All right. Anyways, I was just
What kind of yarn do you have, though?
Black.
The hell? Make one. Like, make one with black yarn. Just be like bizarre.
No, because then I'd have the Black Lives Matter on my ass. Black pussy hat. Yeah, right.
Okay, real talk real quick.
Okay.
What do you think is better for plants? Tap water or smart water?
Huh?
Tap.
And
Go snort.
Tap? All right.
think about what's in your smart water.
Shit. Yeah, I know. I knew that I was opening myself up to an idiocracy reference with that. But
what?
Have you never seen the film Idiocracy? There's
a long time.
Like one of the running jokes in it was that that America has essentially switched out all of its water supply for crop building with Gatorade because it has electrolytes in it.
The smart water has surveillance.
Oh, that's where that's
molecules in it.
We were talking about Idiocracy a while back, and I started watching the movie, and I got about maybe a quarter of the way through it and couldn't watch it anymore. But it was Gatorade, yeah.
Yep, it's a good movie.
Why did those mega hats? Every mega hat I've seen, the bill is kind of flat. It's not like turned in.
Because these guys are not baseballing their hats, because you always see baseball hats with the curve. And
curve them, dudes.
Yeah, curve them, because like Ryan's got a nice little curve on his.
Can you give me co-host, Ryan? Or dang it.
He ain't giving it up.
It's co-host.
Ryan's a balls. Ryan's the balls tonight.
Wow, he said no to you.
The fly is in the lounge, just so you know.
The fly is in the lounge.
I don't see Fly.
Oh, there he is. Oh, you did give me co-host.
Hey, Fly.
There he is.
Oh, damn.
I see the fly on the wall. Look at that.
I actually see a wall. I don't see a stupid picture. Oh, please tell me.
It'd be funny if he actually trapped a fly in whatever that is.
Yeah.
Oh, you bastard. Oh.
Yeah, there he is. There it is.
There you are.
There I am. You guys knew I'd have to make an appearance over here.
You'd have to.
The anarchist himself.
Hello, love.
Oh, we have another anarchist? When did this happen? Fly, you didn't tell me you became an anarchist.
So, as an anarchist, well, maybe even non-anarchists can answer. What is the correct definition of anarchy or an anarchist?
Unity for Jay.
Well,
Yeah.
You don't have to be an anarchist to be that.
No, but it does.
It's just we don't have any rulers. We are our own masters. We are our own rulers. We have rules. It's not like we're in chaos. There's laws, but people are free to do whatever they want. They just can't come and mess up.
Yeah.
They can't come in my crib and mess it up.
The rules are decided by the community rather than by a pre-subscribed set of leaders that we either have symbolically placed in charge or they've taken over by force, which tends to be like 90% of human society.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry I called you a bastard, by the way, Fly.
I'm really liking the eyewear. The eyewear is really rocking.
Word history. So word history, Anne is no, and then Archon is rulers or masters. So no rulers, no masters.
There we go. We got the definition.
And news. Guess where you get news from? What's the news is an acronym.
Anachronism.
Really? I did not know that.
Maybe. I don't know.
Is it really?
Think of the directions. You get
the cardinal
news,
direction?
Nope. North.
Oh, I see.
East, west, south. NEWS. So you get your news from all over.
Oh, it is cardinal directions, yeah.
Oh,
I
you're shipping
did not notice that. That is... Fuck. How did I miss that?
So this is Hollywood Squares with Ryan in the center. Nice.
Well, we're
no, the Brady Bunch.
All right, guys, I'm taking off. Good to see y'all.
Thank you for stopping in, Fly.
Yeah, I have to take off.
No, do you want me to pout?
I don't want you to pout, but I do have to take off.
He's busy tonight.
Thanks for stopping in. And Fly, get
good to see you, Fly.
Is the sigil tomorrow?
We love you.
Or
love you.
Is the sigil tomorrow, Fly?
Is what?
Julian Assange's sigil. Is it tomorrow?
I'll text you on that.
Okay, Ryan, can you mute?
Ryan? Yeah, sorry.
Because
All right.
Okay.
Good to see you all.
All right, see you.
Good night.
Later, Fly.
Stay safe.
See you, Fly.
So, anyways, we are gonna just keep going until James shows up somehow, somewhere, or whoever.
Some way.
Some way. He usually hosts anywhere from now to about midnight Eastern time.
Right.
Anyways, I just want to show real quick. No. Yep.
I gotta go to the bathroom. Sorry.
No problem. This was the first public
episode.
Yeah, public. I forgot what I just called it. Public open discussions is kind of what I'm acronyming it as pods. I'll go ahead and let's see. Make it a little bit quieter.
Okay. So here, Eric.
And we didn't even use Zoom.
All right.
Oh shit.
So Dominic.
All right, cool. All right, we got it working.
Eric was there first. Bram. Green Party of Philadelphia. I don't remember who that was. He didn't show up. I don't think. And let's see. So I'm showing it on YouTube, so I can't share on my thing yet. First Scorpio was on. He was on for a couple of the early shows.
There's
Bram.
Yep.
Bram.
And yeah, we were kind of showing the Erdogan supporters causing a ruckus. M99 was on. And this was the first one. Troxney was on. He didn't show himself, I don't think. And Tim Black came on. Let's see. And this was the very early stage. This is when
oh, there he is right there, Tim.
I forgot what stage this was. This wasn't Zoom. This wasn't. I'm not sure if it was even.
Was this back when this was used to be After Hours?
Yeah. Everything was called After Hours. Then we went to Anything Goes because we wanted to stay on political issues on After Hours and do Anything Goes because sometimes we just get bored of talking about politics and whatnot. So we start talking into
other stuff.
Yeah, other stuff.
What else is there though?
There's a lot.
I'm making it good.
God, we've had so many people coming through here. We had Bram, Snork, obviously, James, Rebel, Chad, Eric, obviously. He's actually our credit to Eric for being our resident meme generator of the group. Obviously, I kind of showed up a bit later. Ariel as well. Shirley, with certainly not least Kelly Lane and Redneck Economics.
Yeah.
Honestly, this channel has been a really great opportunity for me to meet so many talented and truly enthusiastic individuals, and I thank each and every one of you for including me as part of the fold.
More the merrier.
Yeah, we're glad to have you, Elis. I mean, a lot of people don't like to come on and talk. They prefer the live chat, and you know, sometimes I prefer live chat too. I just kind of like typing in stuff and just listening in, but then it just feels weird to have for on my own show. I'm not even a part of it, so it'd be a little bit awkward if I just always did that. But so I understand, but yeah. It's nice to talk with people, and you straighten things out a lot, because when you're just typing, things can get misconstrued. Heck, me and Chad had a couple of misconstruences. You know, it's easy to sort things out when you can be face to face and talk, because we're all pretty much on the same page most of the time.
Most of the time, we do have exceptions.
Yeah.
and I'm usually at the center of a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Some of us skip pages, but we end up on the.
Yeah, we just know that we're just being ruled by assholes, and we just need to stop it.
Exactly.
So High Impact Flicks, if you guys ever watched any of his shows, so he kind of got banned from Twitter. Like, his account got shut down, so all his videos were lost. I just saw a new video yesterday, and you know, there's a lot of people who, like, I don't know exactly what his stance is. Maybe he's just like a libertarian, but he's totally against socialism. But the thing is, what we have now is socialism for the rich. So all our money redistribution is going from the masses to the few. You know, it seems like what everyone's wanting is, hey, let's reverse that socialism and get it from the super wealthy who have billions. I mean, can you imagine having $1 billion, $10 billion?
Oh, no wonder why I get the word socialite now. So basically the elites are like, you know, the socialists, and are the ones that are asking money from the government.
Mm-hmm.
That's starting to make sense to me.
Yep. They don't have to pay the taxes.
They're the true socialists.
No, they aren't. They're just greedy fucks.
It's reverse socialism, I guess you could say.
Capitalism, you mean?
Yeah, it's just capitalism.
Let's see. Surprise. Oh, it's Guard Gnome, our resident troll.
I did. It's because of them people come up with bad analogies about socialism, and I have to explain to people, no, that's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
But like, if someone wants to argue, talk about it, I was like, well, the government are using money to bomb countries. That's socialism.
That's war crimes.
Exactly, war crimes. That's socialism. Yeah, war crimes at socialism. Yeah, let's ask the government for more money to bomb other fucking countries.
I really liked. I don't know if you guys watched the Richard Wolf's interview on Jimmy Dore. Did you guys see that one?
No. Not yet.
Which channel?
It was on Jimmy Dore's channel. He interviewed Richard Wolf, Dr. Richard Wolf.
Oh yeah.
I just like to hear that guy talk. Like, he's super intelligent, but it's interesting to hear, you know, like someone that, you know, wants to have the conversation about, you know, communism, Marxism, whatever. It was interesting.
You know, I don't necessarily share Richard Wolf's view. I'm not personally a Marxist, but I always believe that there's certain merit to having more opinions in the blogosphere, or, you know, at least in the intellectual circle of debate and reason. And I think Richard Wolff offers a unique perspective that's not only credible, but also well-grounded in academia to be able to articulate why the current economic problems that our society has exist the way it does. And that's just me personally, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I when he speaks, I don't know. I don't feel like it's preachy. I feel like he.
No, I get that.
I don't know. And I saw his Jimmy Dore's interview with what's his name, Jesse Ventura. You guys watch that too?
Oh, Ventura is interesting. It's funny. I remember, like, when I was growing up, I used to think he was kind of a quack. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of begun to appreciate his commentary a bit more.
He's talking some real shit.
Yeah. I still may not be necessarily hold down on some of the conspiracy theory stuff, but I think he's a lot keener on the broader problem with the way our governance structure is than I think a lot of people gave him credit for at the time.
So this is the stuff that everyone that's killing me. So
No.
No. Let me go. It's okay. When people start mentioning when someone starts talking about a conspiracy theory stuff, like what constitutes as a conspiracy theory?
That's fair. That there's also that aspect of it. No,
because like mainstream media calls it conspiracy theory, and I look into the conspiracy theory, and there's merit to it, and we all know that mainstream media lies to us. So if they don't want us looking into it, they're going to call it conspiracy theory.
And they want to make it like a shame thing, and it's not. That shows a thinking brain.
I mean, but then there is the conspiracy theory which they probably plant to make everyone follow it and say, yeah, see, look, all the conspiracy theories are nuts. That they believe in this stuff. It's like, no. We just want to look into it and question it. That's not the nutty part.
Things don't make sense, and you have to be honest with yourself. You can't say that. That's what I'm saying. Like some of these people that believe the whole Russia thing, they know the media is lying in all these other situations, but for some particular reason in this situation that they're not lying. They don't have any kind of angle or,
Yeah, and that's kind of like that's the real catch-22, isn't it? Because there's so many different because there are certain stories and propositions that I'm less likely to believe, but then if you're not in the sphere of believing that the source is credible or is not credible, then that leads to all sorts of weird positions, doesn't it?
Well, the thing is, it's more of like at this point, what our country, if you look at what our country's done, what our agencies have done, the people in power have done, you would be foolish to not ask questions with all these things, like even things that you may think, like, and that's there lies the problem, is because once you realize that they've been doing dirt, then you have to go back and question everything, and then
it's at first you're searching for any type of news, then you're doing research. Get it? You're researching.
I get it. That's good.
Movie they love.
I think what pisses me off about mainstream news, like turning. I'm a real language lover. The dictionary. I used to read the dictionary just for the hell of it because I love learning how to, what words mean, and they took the word conspiracy that's been in the dictionary way before they started shaming people and adulterated it, turned it into something shameful. And it's like, I'm not letting anybody turn language into something as a weapon. It's just,
Yeah,
They're trying to take away its meaning and give it a different meaning, but taking it out of context and blowing everything out of proportion.
I won't give them that power.
Well,
I am a conspiracy theorist because it's fun as shit to do, you know?
It's the narrative, you know, and again, they focus on the identity, or they focus on the label of something in order to hijack the meaning of the narrative of something. And then that, you know, that's the whole point, is like when you realize how much they've done that and how much it's been going on, to not question shit, to not think, you know, there's a big conspiracy, you know, is rather just being oblivious. In my opinion.
I could get behind. I could understand that perspective. I'm still kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm a stubborn bastard and I don't like having to rewrite everything I've understood about the world unless I absolutely need to. But I tend to be a little more resistant towards just wholesale changing my perspective of reality until I can say with any absolute certainty, okay, this seems to be the most logical explanation of X, Y, and Z phenomena. It's not necessarily because I'm immune to the possibility that this a certain narrative of events didn't take place. I'm more with time and convincing. I could probably get behind a certain perspective, but there's this sort of a lag time between that where I'm just trying to process this in my head. It's just sort of like, okay, does this make sense? And given the evidence purported, is there any counter evidence to this claim? And I don't like, even if the person who would be damaged by that story is an utter and complete bastard, case in point, Bill Maher or Sam Cedar, that doesn't mean I'm just going to run with the story just because I don't like him.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. That's just me, though. Other people might have a different perspective to that, and I fully respect that. If you guys don't necessarily, if you think that's being a bit overcautious about it.
Well, I just think I think at this point, these people they know what's going on, and they willingly and they do this shit on purpose. And the reason why they're in these positions is because they're okay with taking money in order to do these things on purpose. They're bought and paid for to be in that position. All these mainstream media guys are. I mean, think about. There's so many things that our government has done illegally. Our presidents to Congress, all these different things, and still nothing is done about it. And the very reason that it's allowed to continue, it is the very reason to realize that you can't trust what they're saying.
Right, and that's the part about it I definitely agree with. Never. If somebody who has any degree of power tells you something is the case of reality and there's no other story behind it, chances are at least 80% of the time that this is the case, they're fucking lying to you.
Well, unless it's something that benefits them, like there's an angle. It's like, huh?
Did you feed her?
Well, that's the thing. They lie because they do lie because it does benefit them. And the only reason that they won't do that is if they don't have the audacity to try and make that claim in the face of reality, of an obvious apparent reality, which
default microphone is
dealing with an administration like Trump is almost non-existent.
Oh, that's weird. I'm hearing James.
I think
because he's here.
What?
We hear him. We just can't see him.
Oh,
Are you here, James? What's up?
Oh, speaker. Shit.
He's bitching at his computer or something. Can't hear us.
I'm sorry.
You're like freaking out. That's so funny.
How the hell do we?
So the round robin's gonna start going towards James once he's figures stuff out.
Sounds good to me.
I didn't see him come in. Obviously, tonight, right?
Well, he came in as Tequila, so he just changed his name.
Okay.
Hey, James.
James, are you Earth James? Are you there?
I'm here. Over. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you, dude.
Are you naked or something? We don't see you on camera.
Well, that's the reason why I'm not on camera, but that's besides the point.
There you
go. Okay. No, I'm wearing my bowling.
You're
my bowling.
Okay, somebody has something in the background.
That's James.
Howdy and aloha.
No, please.
Welcome to.
Oh my goodness.
Don't listen to these assholes, James. That's a good song.
And you.
I'm putting you guys in the waiting
We
room.
hope you stay at
Oh,
don't listen to him.
I didn't
Everybody,
get
one more time.
There's such bad influences. You guys have really
Get used to
created
it,
a
man.
monster with me, I tell you.
I haven't heard the Monarch
I like that song.
in a while. You haven't played it.
What kind of hat you're wearing tonight?
I couldn't find it the other day. It's just I got so much clutter. I'll look for it.
It's probably because of these assholes telling them this song.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
James.
Well, throw us under the bus, why don't you?
So, if he can do a rap
Back it up, bring it, back it up, bring it.
If you can do a rap rendition of that song, that would be awesome.
Welcome to Mana Talk. That's what I'm saying, dog.
No, with the Howdy and Aloha version.
Howdy and aloha.
God, that sounds so cringe. That's so cringe.
A bunch of white guys trying to do rap.
I think that's the point.
Where all the black people at?
No, please.
Cheryl, teach us.
Where's Cheryl?
Yeah, get on here, Cheryl.
She's like, you guys are pointless. Not pointless.
All right, James, are you ready to switch it to your channel now?
Not kinda.
Not kinda?
Well, I'm concerned because I've been messing with my microphone because of my 40 inch is kind of my 40 inch.
Oh.
That's what you said?
We're comparing sizes now, are we?
Good.
If I had a 40 inch, I would not be here. That's all.
Wow.
We can raise a lot of money for candlelight now.
Just do some porn shows for us.
Just do a couple.
Oh, hold on.
I've already been positioned for that a long time. Okay.
Howdy and aloha.
All right.
Are we?
I'm done. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
They don't support TYT, dude. We need
You
to
whimper.
So whose show is this? Isn't this Ryan's show?
Yes.
No, so Ryan's still streaming. I'm streaming right now. When you stream, I don't know whether I'll stop the stream or
No,
I'll just
well,
keep it
I
going.
can stream and still have the stream on while I'm streaming. I can stream this while we're streaming. We can stream all together.
Yeah.
So you can just stream this.
True.
So
And
We'll
it
stream this.
Yeah,
Well-
we don't need separate OBS things, right?
No, I think what we should do is you just have your overlay, but you just have the Zoom. So we're all kind of starting to stream and restream.
Yeah.
The thing is, I want people to move over on live chat, so they don't keep talking on Ryan's channel or my channel. They do the live chat on your channel, etc. I don't know.
Do we want to do that? I mean, I don't want to have them jumping all over the place.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with James. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm okay. They don't have. I get so many people. I can share a few. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everybody needs to monitor a page, the chat, and then if they're worried about it, they can come on and talk too.
Is that Shirley?
Yeah.
In other words, some deserve it more
They
than
can
others.
go to whatever show they want to.
Listen, there's millions of people out there watching right now, so
Millions.
Yeah.
Is that you, Cheryl?
so
Yes, it is.
Hey,
What's up?
you need to teach us how to do rap. We were doing really horrible earlier.
I'm sorry. There's just something.
Teach you how to do rap.
Yeah, we were doing horrible.
Don't you know how to sing? Don't you know how to do that rap song from back in the day by Sugar Hill Gang?
Yep.
No, I don't do. I don't
the
do
hip
that.
hop, the hip it to the hip it to the hip it, Papa, you don't stop.
It just sounds better coming out of a black person. Hey, but you know who the first real rapper was? And he was white. And it was Aerosmith. Walk this way.
No.
No.
That
was the first rap song you heard.
That's
the first white rappers were the Beastie Boys.
Beastie Boys were great.
I
They were the first white rappers.
Blondie preceded them by years.
Wait. You called that what?
The Beastie Boys?
Beastie Boys.
You called it light rappers?
White.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Blondie preceded the Beastie Boys by years.
I think you guys are forgetting the most important contribution to the rap community of the 90s, and that is truly Vanilla Ice.
Oh, I forgot about him.
Ice baby.
But
in the 90s, Vanilla Ice.
Are you sure that
I would
wasn't
say MC Hammer?
I'm sorry, that was me trolling. That was me trolling. I admit. I'm sorry.
Hey, is that you, Garden?
Yeah, people are always bitching at me, so I'm going through a series of
identity crisis right now.
Oh, 1 second, James.
you never show your face, man.
Alexa.
Oh, you got cheeks.
Right, one second, James.
Lab.
Your YouTube title and description just needs updating. Sorry. Keep going. We can make fun of Garden Gnome's picture now.
Is that you too, Garden, right there?
Yeah, all these
that
pictures
is
of me.
hot as hell.
I've been
Keep that one right there, Garden.
People are always complaining.
You're like a political Indiana Jones.
That is so hot, Garden.
So, you know what, dude? When I was wearing that hat around, people were always mocking me for being Indiana Jones. They're like, you look like Indiana Jones.
You're right. Exactly. Motherfucker, and if something shit goes down, you want the motherfucker that looks like Indiana Jones to be around.
That's right. This is coming from the fucking Admiral.
Where's my hat? It's in there.
Eric.
That's right. I thought that hat was cool, man. That dude was giving you some shit for it. It was hilarious, but don't be scared to wear that hat, man. It looks cool.
I'm not scared at all.
Okay.
It's early on.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, we hear you.
There you go.
Blondie preceded Ice-T and all those others by years.
Blondie, what song?
It was
Rapture.
Cars and Bars to Mars.
Yeah, 80s music, Blondie for sure.
Well,
Blondie.
If you're talking about like
Sugar Hill Gang is 70s though, like 70.
No, I wouldn't think so. There were other rappers out then. They were underground.
There was
I like that one, Garden.
They were just like
rapping in the 60s.
No, they were underground rapping like in the 70s.
Yeah.
Some TV show played somebody from the 60s doing it.
Really?
So what would be considered rap then, or I mean, like, would just be in a rhythm?
But Blondie heard it and she did Rapture. And it was actually a pretty big hit.
Rapture, yeah.
Yeah, she had Fab Five Freddy in the video.
Yeah. So I mean, there was others that were already popular by then, but she preceded all the others, Beastie Boys and.
So when did they start using the term rap as opposed to
Tech? You can't talk. You gotta go shave so you can show your face.
I'm already shaved, guys. I just got a shower.
Okay, then turn. Oh yeah, now it's a fucking shower. What more excuses are you going to come up with?
Gosh. Tech, are
Show
you
your
catfishing-
face.
are you
Hey, I'm
catfishing
looking
us,
at
Tech?
James, and he's looking pretty sharp tonight. So
I don't give a fuck. Just show
Okay.
your face.
I'm looking at James, so he's looking good.
Tech, it's
all good, guys. It's all
You're
good.
gonna talk your way.
It's gonna happen. It's seriously gonna happen.
When?
But spoken word, I think spoken word was like in the 60s. Wouldn't you call that spoken word, Cheryl?
Yeah, spoken word though. It's more like Lauren Green's Ringo or John Wayne's Green Beret.
Yeah, it's
talking about like
But I believe that if as far as the early Grammys went, it was considered the same as spoken word.
Oh my God, Eric, you're funny.
Is that spaghetti, Eric? Oh my God!
No, it's it's
you want it if you're hungry.
It's an octoling from Splatoon. Yeah, I got one of these hats when I was waiting for getting amiibos, and I just got this hat because I was
Eric, I'm getting aroused, man.
It must be fun to be your mother to watch you.
Splatoon.
If my daughter was at a place and she saw one of those, she would have bought it too.
Oh, I got it for free.
She plays Splatoon.
Oh, that's funny. Smirky and I are talking parental.
But wouldn't like Bebop and stuff like that be a little bit more? I'm trying to.
That was supposedly the first rap song.
We didn't hear it. It was great. It was a great song.
It was. Yeah, I don't want to get copywritten from the song from the 1930s.
Well, it's already copywritten.
1930s.
It's over. Over.
Wait, I want to just listen to it real quick. Hang on, let's just listen to it.
Yeah, me too.
They're saying that this was the first like considered rap song. So this is.
Let's hear the beat.
Turn that bass up.
Turn the volume up.
See, it's got that tinny sound. It's got that tinny sound.
When every magazine gives you a couple on how not to be green.
Forsaken.
No.
Oh, hooray! And then they took the piano away. And for our free booklet, they tittered when I arose to speak. Like that song, they all got weak. If you are bashful, shy, and meek, send for our free booklet. Do friends feel sorry for your wife? Are you wasting your young life? Would you know what spoon or knife? Just sign that little coupon. In French, I ordered coffee cake. My friends all laughed and hollered fake. Just then the waiter brought a steak. Send for our free booklet.
That's fucking badass.
I like that one. That's funny.
That's my new jam.
That's a keeper. That's a keeper.
Yeah, that's
what do you
gonna
think,
be my
Cheryl?
new jam.
Huh?
What do you think?
About what, that song?
Yeah.
It's okay.
It was stupid, right?
It's considered, but
It's so white. It's
So white is right.
It's not even that. It just wasn't until Eminem is white and he sounds good rapping. So it's not that. So
Right. Mic check. Forsaken Companion came on.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Hey, Forsaken.
It's a little low, Forsaken, though.
Oh,
Oh, it's better now.
hello, just popping in to say hello. Oh, I've got to turn off the whatchamacallit.
Hurry up! It's gonna blow up! It's gonna blow up!
Hey, Forsaken.
Thanks for coming on, Forsaken.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm gonna blow.
Anniversary. Yay.
Yay.
I probably am gonna need to head off early tonight. I'm kind of worn out from traveling
No
Oh,
problem.
Portland.
I'm worn out too. I need a shower. And get some.
I'm glad there's no thing.
I'll take care of that shit in the morning.
Oh, hey guys, just I also wanted to say I have Jeremy on the phone, and he said to say happy anniversary before he told me to.
Say hi to Jeremy.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you. Aloha. Mahalo. Mahalo.
Missing you guys.
Howdy and aloha.
No, stop.
Welcome to Montana.
I like that song.
Yeah, me too, Cheryl.
Me too, Evan. You gotta learn how to embrace it.
I want to see James and Evan in the damn octagon over this song.
Evan's just a fucking asshole.
Yep.
But on this note, I'll take my leave for this evening. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Alice.
Take care.
Thanks for coming in, Alice.
Thank you for letting me in. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I think we should all sing the ending together.
Yeah, he got on a different hat.
So why don't you come and talk? It should all be all of us.
I forget the end of the song.
Stay and talk. Something like that, right?
I was in a grocery store. I was in a grocery store about 3 weeks ago, and I was singing it out loud when I was in the vegetable area, and then I said, "What the fuck am I doing?" It's so catchy.
It's catchy.
The vegetable area reminded you of James of Montauk?
Oh, you know what? It was the fruit. It was Hawaii. There was there was
So
James a little fruity?
Yes.
He was in the banana section.
The bananas and the pineapple and it all made me feel Hawaii-ish.
I don't want to know what you're doing with pineapple.
And so I started humming it, and then I started singing it, and then I looked over to the right, and someone was looking at me like I was fucking weird, and I went, "Oh shit!" And I said, "I'm sorry."
I'm fucking weird.
Did you say you and I are Ohana?
You're all Ohana, brother.
Ohana.
I'm surprised none of you guys did a critique of that. What's that guy? Donald Jones. This Is America. A lot of people did different critiques of it.
Oh, Donald Glover with Childish Gambino.
Donald Glover, yeah.
Yeah, Chad and I spoke about it.
Oh, hi, Truth. Happy anniversary, dude.
Hey, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Okay,
there it is.
Here we go. Here we go. Evan, stop it. Dance.
I'm booting you
No,
all.
I've had quite the day today.
It's just the music, so you guys
can embrace it, Evan.
Oh my god! What did
I
say we just put him in a box.
Is everybody drunk?
Wait, James. Play it so that we can bug Evan.
Here we go. Okay. Evan, just mute.
Howdy and aloha.
Welcome to
Montauk. The
earth and you are.
Shut up, Truth.
Talk.
I hope you stand on.
Way too loud, dude. Way too loud.
Oh my
Dude, you're
James, I
so...
always want to ask, how does talk rhyme with talk? Welcome to Montauk. I hope you stay in talk.
You guys were saying something?
Oh, it's. We hope you stand. Welcome to. We hope you stay and talk. It's just I don't know. It just came out of my head. I was drunk when I did.
It's a perfect song.
It's better than stay and masturbate.
Oh shit, Ryan!
There's some kind of white noise pulse that's coming through this mic.
Yeah.
Now it stopped.
It was
Of
true
course,
adjusting
'cause-
his camera.
William is about the noisiest one.
Won't you stay and wank?
Hey, look.
Still not.
That's the pay-per-view version of Manitoba.
Still doesn't rhyme. Still doesn't rhyme.
We can all get it out and
hold on.
say.
We got First Scorpio in the live chat. He was one of the original first
Scorpio.
Scorpio?
First
I don't see him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is he in your chat or in James' chat?
He's in my chat, yeah.
Nice.
Jesus, this is a little bit confusing.
Yeah, this is poorly planned. But that's all right.
That's all right.
I'll catch on.
Did anybody else let Tim Black know?
Right?
Yeah.
I didn't tell anybody, man. I didn't have a chance to tell anybody, so.
Me neither. I was
Evan's such a shit organizer.
Yeah, I am. I mean, just look at this.
Hey, we're just having fun though, and plus, and plus it's us that do this and talk and just do a bunch of awesome things and say awesome things and and just do awesome shit.
I'm playing World of Warcraft. I don't give a shit.
Okay, I still don't see Scorpio.
You're Australian. Who cares?
He's on Evans.
That's right, dude. They're a lesser race.
Well,
okay, there's Tamana Talk.
He sees you.
Did he say hi?
I don't know, but he sees
Well, then how do you know he sees me?
Because he's watching, if he's chatting.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, fuck. I've had
Are
so
you a
much
little
sugar.
buzz
Hey, hang on. Hey,
Yeah.
Isn't that human like behind you, outside looking in?
Oh, there. Hi, Scorpio.
You saying there's something in the window?
Yeah, like when Rebel said, "How does he watching me?" He's behind you in the window. I can see his face.
Don't do that shit. I've watched too much Snowden and Assange shit. I am so paranoid anymore because of those two. And I looked behind me just now.
Make sure. Cheryl, did you watch this week's Star and Empire?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I did. It was really good. It was really good.
Yeah. Are you?
Can't stand Eddie.
Oh yeah, no, Eddie Barker. Yeah. What do you think's gonna happen?
I don't know. Something is up with Thirsty, Lucia's lawyer.
Hey, no spoilers, please. No spoilers. I might watch it in a couple of years.
Spoiler alert.
Never mind. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Remember when they had that concert? Well, I forgot what it was called, but then the Evolve video came up, and you saw Lucia's lawyer on the phone. Who the hell was he talking to? He looked kind of sneaky.
Well, he's always been kind of sneaky, anyways. Like from the beginning. Remember, he met him in the jail or whatever.
Yeah, he kind of looked like a crackhead on the show.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. What do you think about Jamal's new band?
They're okay.
Yeah, same here. The music, I don't feel like the music's gotten any better.
No, because they got rid of what's his name?
Timbaland, right? Timbaland was doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, Timbaland. That music was slamming when Timbaland was there. They got rid of Timbaland and got somebody else.
Yeah, it's kind of gone down. And of course, Star too with what's his name getting shot.
Yeah. And Carlotta's sister, she's a real bitch, man.
Oh, we're adults. You can say bitch. You can even say the word cunt, and that's okay.
On your own live stream, thank you.
Shut up, Brian. Oh my God, you're bossy tonight.
I'm pissed they canceling my show, Designated Survivor. I love that show.
Oh, they canceled it?
That's funny.
They're going to cancel it. They're not going to renew it for next season. It's only been on 2 seasons, but Netflix want to grab it. But the only thing, they're going to have a problem because Hulu is with ABC to see the replays of the show.
Bye, William. Sorry.
Aloha.
So the Netflix is going to take Designated Survivor? Is what you're saying? You think they're going to pick up?
Yeah, they're not going to show it for a 3rd season on TV. That's the second show. No, that's 3 shows I watched. They took off, and the ratings were fine.
Cheryl, Scorpio wants to know if you've ever seen Atlanta.
No, I never watched it.
It's on.
No,
Hulu.
she's never watched. Oh wait, he heard that. Okay, I can handle this.
You sure? You sure?
It's not like it's the first time you've seen me drunk, though.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, come on in.
Dave's at work, and he'll be on. He said he'll be on at 3 later after.
Or at 4:20.
Or 4:20, yeah.
I'll be all. What are you doing, Eric? You freak! I love it.
Do you watch
fun being silly?
Lethal Weapon? Sure.
Do it. Keep doing it.
No, I don't watch it because I was worried that they would cancel it.
Actually, it's really good. I'm actually impressed with it. What's his name? Wayne does a really good job. It's funny. It gets some, really good.
And they fucking canceled it.
Do they?
Yeah.
Lethal Weapon?
I think he was having problems with the actor, the white guy that played alongside Wayans. He was having problems with them.
It is not canceled.
They had some altercations. They
It is
fired
not
him.
canceled.
Yeah.
It is not canceled. They replaced the actor.
It's effectively canceled if you like that actor that they fired. Yeah.
Oh, I guess that's why they killed him off.
Early on, I liked the chemistry between the two. That white actor, very, very, very interesting acting stuff.
Yeah, no, I do too.
That guy from Alabama. He's from Alabama. Chad.
He was in an episode of Criminal Minds.
I've never seen him in anything else.
There's another movie too that I saw. I haven't watched it yet, but it's on Netflix. That the guy, he didn't have a mustache or anything, so he kind of looked weird.
I don't know. For me, most of this stuff is all about, the chemistry, the interaction between these characters, and that first season was really good between those two, between Wayans and him.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a self-destructive character can only go so far,
Yeah.
There might be something behind it, though. The reason he supposedly got upset was because a special effect went bad and blew up on Damon Wayans, not himself. He was more upset about the risks of the other people. So I wonder what's going on there.
There was a couple of issues, like someone was screaming at the crew, and there was an issue there, and then there was that special effects issue where it exploded and hit somebody.
And the controversy was that who was the prima donna? Who was the real prima donna there? Was it Wayans or was it him?
I have no idea. I just saw a couple of news items on it.
Interesting. Well, they're supposed to renew. Well, Lucifer. I think they picked up Lucifer. They're gonna.
No, I thought they canceled that.
Yeah, but I think somebody's gonna pick that up too. I read somewhere.
Did they cancel The Exorcist?
Yeah. Oh, they did cancel that. I couldn't get into that. I'm like, shit, this ain't nothing like that movie.
Nothing like the movie.
The movie was great.
That movie still scares me.
Oh, I'm not afraid of
Yeah,
it.
Did you see the remake where she was going down the steps backwards?
Oh, you mean
she was bending back and going down the steps? Huh?
There was also
that was crazy.
There was also I actually know there was the scene they took it was the director's cut. Basically, what you watched was the director's cut, and plus there was there was a scene where the doctor said a quote from I think Reagan was her name.
Yeah, Reagan was the name.
Yeah. They said it wasn't I seen the original one and the director's cut, but in the director's cut there was a scene where where the doctor said she advised me to keep my fingers away from her goddamn cunt, and the mom was surprised.
The mom worked my nerves with all that screaming she did. Her screaming was irritating.
Why was it high pitched?
Yeah.
I don't like high pitched.
I was like, oh my God.
I do not like the high pitched female voice. It just drives me up the wall. It's like you might as well be scratching your nails down what do you call that thing? A chalkboard.
Yeah.
What else?
Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember a movie actress named Brenda Vaccaro?
Yes.
Now she had a great voice. She used to run around with Michael Douglas. But back in the day, my God, she had such a sexy voice.
I have to see her to remember her.
I can halfway see her, but I know who he's kind of talking about, though.
Not sure.
Is that her up in her older version of her?
Yeah.
Aw.
Of course, this is just my opinion, but the other one, and she just died recently, Margot Kidder.
Oh yeah,
had a really great voice. Margot Kidder's voice.
She died at a young age.
She was quite the activist for environmental causes, Margot Kidder.
Well, a lot of those actors and actresses from back in the day, a lot of them were activists. A lot of them. You know who had pretty eyes? Real pretty eyes. I always found them mysterious. Karen Black.
Karen who?
Karen Black.
Black?
Mm-hmm. She had really pretty eyes. I was like, man, her eyes just look like they're so mysterious. She always playing some scary movie.
Yes, she did one called A Trilogy of Terror. It was a made-for-TV movie.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Probably the best thing she ever did.
Don't know.
She did Burnt Offerings with Betty Davis.
Right. And that's what I was just going to say. I was thinking, Betty Davis was like the earlier version of Karen Black. Karen Black was like in the 70s, maybe early 80s. Betty Davis with Hitchcock films. Oh my God. Yeah.
I love
Betty Davis. Oh. I remember Betty Davis played in this TV movie. It came on, it's called Harvest Home. And she was creepy in that thing. She played the head of some colony.
Amazing
and once
actress.
You get there, you can't leave. Oh. Yep, that's when she got changed by that dog.
Hey, Stevie's here.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Hey, Stevie.
play Misty for me?
Mm-hmm.
You guys saw it with Clint Eastwood? Was she in that? I think she was in that too, right?
No, that wasn't her, I don't think.
Oh yeah, she was in The Great Gatsby. Airport.
And I believe she also played in The Manitou. What's that? Tony Curtis played in that. He played a fortune teller. It was some Indian growing in her back. Some witch doctor.
5 Easy Pieces.
Mm.
No, maybe that wasn't her.
Yeah. All right, so I am not going to go down the road of ancient things. I am going to go to the road of we are all together because we have created, I'm going to say it, here it comes, Ohana. We're a family.
We got a family, James.
That's right. We've been through our ups, we've been through our downs.
You are Ohana.
You know, we've been around for a year, and here's the cool thing, is that we've always let new people come into our family. We always do. Anybody, like Truth, and then, you know, whoever else is out there. And that's what's great about us, is we're very welcoming, we're very tolerant, we're very forgiving, and then I think we're also very
tough,
empathetic to everyone that wants to come aboard and hang out and share and let it out. It's like, I gotta say it. It's like group therapy. Sorry, it just is.
It is group therapy.
Rainbow wax.
You know, I have to say, I know at times I am a whole handful to handle, and I just appreciate the fact that I can come back in and I'm still cared about. I'm still loved. And it's something that I've never had in my whole entire life. And this is the first time in my life that I've actually had that. And it's like, because of that, I'm able to look at myself in the mirror and not hate myself anymore. And it's just, you have no idea how much this group has just been totally life transforming for me. And I appreciate you guys a lot.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
We appreciate you.
You're welcome.
Right back at you, Rebel, because you guys have taught me a lot of things.
James, you called me a racist, man.
And that damn Frankie.
Goddamn snicker penis.
Frankie guy.
I thought that was so funny. I was laughing so hard out on this side of the monitor. I was like, I know who he is. You guys are being such dorks.
Hold on. Rainbow X is here for the first time.
Oh.
Yay, Rainbow!
Oh my God, my nipples just got hard.
I want to see some hard nipples.
Can you do a mic?
My manlyhood just got hard.
Who wants to speak? Go ahead.
Can you do a mic check?
Jimmy Wasserman Schultz is a man named Wasserman.
Eric.
Maybe politically incorrect.
Rainbow was here.
I never thought of
Hi,
that.
Hey,
Rainbow.
let's let Rainbow talk.
Yeah.
Hi, Rainbow.
We scared his audio away.
Rainbow, talk.
She said she don't have a camera for this computer.
Oh.
But does she have a
Call in
microphone?
on the phone.
Oh, but she can talk on her phone.
You can talk. right?
I would think so.
I
Say
call in on
something
my
out in
phone.
chat so that we know what you're.
You know what? It took me a while to get the gall to come out and talk with you guys. It must have been like 32 seconds for me.
I was. Oh, not everybody was here, but I was talking about my first time was I was stoned out as fuck when I came on, and Broken Carpenter was on, and he had all his lights and everything, and he was laying back and he was smoking a doob. I mean, he looked like the typical hippie of all hippies, and a hippie god to me because I was all stoned, and there's a hippie inside of me. And it was because of him that I came back, because I said, boy, anybody that's cool as shit like that, I'm going to come back to this group. And so that's how I got stuck. Not stuck. I'm sorry.
Thanks a lot. Now the truth comes out.
Oh, shut up. Please let me go back. But that's how come I kept coming back, was because of that hippie. And it was just like, then it was like, oh, these guys are so cool, one by one. So that's my story about starting here. Thank you, too.
You're welcome.
I don't remember. I'm going to find out. What was the first day I came on? Did you ever find that out, Evan?
I didn't.
When everybody's life went to hell.
I was going to say, we've been trying to forget that.
I'm thinking it was July. I got a feeling like maybe July, James, because you were coming on without a shirt. It was warm.
It was hot. It was hot, baby.
He was trying to be Ohana.
You're trying to bring back repressed memories, James.
Bob just said, keep it coming. I almost have enough to finish my paper on psychology.
Oh my gosh.
That's us.
That's fucking funny. Oh my God.
He's doing a steady on us.
I think the first time I came on was right after the People's Convergence. And
what was that?
It was when they had that People's that whole thing in Chicago or something like that.
They were trying. Trying to convince Bernie.
Yeah, well, yeah, and
a bunch of other stuff.
He didn't show up, and then that's when Tim Black, forgave Jordan Charlton, for doing all that kind of stuff, and then that was the whole thing. Because people were pissed because nobody was asking, about the cheating or the DNC lawsuit.
Yeah. So I joined probably a couple of days after Stevie was on Graham Elwood's show for the first time. Because I was only watching Graham Elwood, Tim Black, and Jimmy Dore, and Jesse Ventura on RT.
Jeez, they don't make this easy. I'm trying to get on video-wise.
Wow, holy shit, there's so much I forgot. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
man, there's been a lot going on in the last year, guys.
Like, I'm still trying to take it all in. I was like, well, wait, that happened?
We've done some major fucking research on what...
Yeah, we've been researching a good long time, guys.
I mean, real deal shit, man.
Real deal. Real world shit.
Time does fly pretty fast. Holy
I remember the first day I came on. Jank called me into his office. He said, "There's malcontents, and they're distorting our narratives. We need to go monitor them." And I whined, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And I ran to my computer. And
I reckon
logged in and just waited.
He didn't give you a pay raise. What?
I don't get paid, dude.
The day that you come across Jank in the wild, you're going to get the biggest wrenching hard on.
Jank in the wild. Jank in the wild.
He got paid in the Jordan's orgies. That was his payment.
Oh,
that's another thing. With you,
that's where the payment came from.
Now I listen to you, Gnome, and it's like you're so full of shit. I mean, I was telling him the other night that I actually believed Gnome when he said that he worked for TYT, and I thought, oh my fucking god, I got in the wrong group. You know, this is not where I want to be. And I was cautious for about 2 weeks until I realized, oh, he's just teasing. It was like,
so that's your sarcasm radar. That's your sarcasm radar. Rebel.
I know. I thought he was an asshole at first. I mean, I was just literally thinking, this guy needs to be told how to. I don't know. I don't know what I was trying to tell him. Oh. When I'm drunk, this is like my truth serum here, so I should just shut up. But I love
okay, Amanda. Now. We have a hard
time. I love
time
you now.
Sometimes.
Shut up, fuck you.
I'm loopy sometimes, but I'm the same loopy.
So everybody gets to say something good about somebody and something bad about somebody.
Everybody can go and get popped.
Yeah, there we go.
I do actually love you now, Garden.
Ryan's got the right attitude. Fuck them all.
We're back to
nihilism.
What is that? Oh my god, is that you? To the left?
Yeah, I was 13.
Is that?
Oh, you were hot. I mean, you are hot now, but I mean, shit.
I had Maui hair. I was just showing you. When my hair grows out, I got Maui hair.
Oh, you have hair like mine.
James, how old were you in that picture?
13.
You look older than 13.
Damn, you look older than 13 in that picture.
You're the dude on the left, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of the marks. I want to look at you.
18 in that picture. Seriously, I thought when you said you were 13, I thought you were that kid in the middle.
Oh, look at him.
I was 16 there.
You look.
Hillary Clinton was here. That's 13.
You look more mature than the
That looks like some sort of animal with eyes.
Who's the other dudes with you?
That's my grandmother and my little brother.
I can't. Oh, I'm sorry, grandmother. I'm sorry. I called her a dude.
Back in the day, though, like it was in style for kids in high school to have like full-on mustaches. Like my brothers, like are a bit older than me, and they did the same thing, and they looked a lot older than they were. So I think that's a part of it. Like you don't see kids doing that anymore today.
You still have that same smile today that you did back then.
So crazy.
That was a large airplane to build.
It was a 150.
Where do you see an airplane?
Right here. Right here.
It wasn't a 049. It was a 129, 28. I don't know. Engine. I ran it into the same tree I cut down.
Oh, hi, Jay.
Jay, what's up?
I didn't see that until the other screen left.
Hey, Tech, how are you, buddy?
I am good, James. You're looking good tonight, as I said.
Jay looks like Michael Moore.
No, he looks better than that. Stop that.
No,
I'll take Michael Moore. I got jowls.
I should do a stand-in for him. That's what I should do.
Because if we get Grumbine on here too, we got three guys that look like each other.
Sorry, Michael Moore, if you're watching, I did not mean anything by that.
Michael Moore is like part of Hollywood celebrity.
I'm sure he's not watching.
I wanted
you can say anything about celebrities.
Michael Moore went the way of Bill Maher. No way. No way.
I wanted Steve Grumbine to get all fired up when he was on the. I didn't see the whole episode, but when he was on, when you interviewed him, I was wanting to see him get all.
He gets passionate though. I mean, I like his. I guess. I don't know.
Okay, Jay. Now you gotta unbutton your shirt now.
Summertime, guys. It's cold.
Dim the lights just a little bit.
No, I'm just rocking my diner hat. I like my diner hat.
If I had a cigarette, I could do the put the cigarette in the sleeve like Matthew McConaughey.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
All right.
How was that done? I forget.
I don't know. Who rolls the cigarette up their sleeve anyway? Short sleeve.
Sha Na Na used to do that. You guys remember Sha Na Na?
Oh yes, I love that group.
Bowser, I think was his name. He used to roll his.
That's not James, is it?
No,
that's me. That's Ryan.
Oh, Ryan, you're so cute.
That was 2002-ish.
Oh my God! What a gnome! It's so amazing.
See, Ryan has the opposite thing of James. Like he looks way younger back then than he actually was.
You got a little Elton John look to you.
Yeah, a little Elton John. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you look like Elton John.
I see Elton John. Yes.
I used to grow my sideburns out and wear a chef's hat and,
Do you remember what you were cooking there?
You look rather debonair by
I was cooking. It was a tortilla. It was a tortilla with Roma tomatoes and bocconcini cheese with basil and cracked pepper.
Oh, that sounds so nummy.
So good.
All right, I'm gonna go eat. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right.
Hey, wait, we're not. Oh, we started the food talk. That's awesome.
Are we on porn? Are we on porn now?
We're showing pictures of ourselves.
Are we back to porn?
I don't think I have a picture.
I don't have that.
I might have to go find
No,
some.
because you got clothes on, Jay.
No. Food porn. Food porn.
Oh, food porn. Yeah, that's what I was talking.
I know
I'm thinking food porn. I'm thinking.
Very naughty.
Eating porn
I'm thinking
with
Top
food
Chef. I'm
involved.
thinking Canadian.
Naughty food.
I am a naughty girl.
I'm thinking Emerald Lagasse.
Naughty food.
Bam.
Naughty
Ooh,
food.
Naughty. Ooh, very, very steamy food.
Eric.
Hot and steamy.
Rebel, close your eyes. Close your eyes.
No, I don't wanna. If I'm gonna miss something.
Close your eyes.
Got a picture.
Close.
Oh, there we go. Yes.
I love the one with you in the window. That is just hot.
I like the one with the glasses. You still have those glasses?
Yeah.
You should wear those glasses.
You know what I would do if I was in that room? I would walk up to you and take your...
Look at those pecs, man.
I know, right?
Damn, James.
Oh, man.
Serious pecs, dude.
Quit it.
I need
I'm
a
the
bro
only one that
now.
says that.
Now I need a bro.
Yeah, you might want to go and think about that one.
Hey, Dave.
Oh, we are so crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so back to the porn.
No, like we're not crazy. Like the mainstream media, they're fucking crazy. We're just normal.
We're not crazy.
Hey, Indy's in.
They're the ones that are crazy.
Or they're the ones who
Depending on
made us
what
crazy.
day it is, we're not crazy.
I have a fun topic. Non-Europhone sources of knowledge production in Africa in the 21st century.
What?
How does that sound?
Is that Apple or
Howdy and the
No, it's this fucking thing I'm working on. It's ridiculous. Like this.
Tell them to get fucked.
I empathize with these students, but a lot of them can't type a sentence in English. And you
I
go
thought I
over
heard you
these
say
damn things.
Europhone.
They don't teach
Yes.
that these days because they've got autocorrect.
Right.
No, autocorrect
checker.
doesn't work.
Spell grammar. Grammar doesn't work real well because that gets into the AI, right?
It's more than just a matter of being able
Grammarly. I use Grammarly.
Grammarly misses all kinds of shit, but it's not just a matter of
No, it's our teaching. It's our educational system going to shit, is what it is.
I don't think
I just use my southern accent. They don't pay me no mind. It don't matter.
Dom is in the house.
Just don't matter.
Just 517 original too.
Dave's in the house.
I just do ellipses between everything, and then
Dom is in the house. Dave's in the house.
Hi, Dom.
Hey, Dom.
Just don't matter.
Hey, Dom.
Dom.
Hey, Dave.
Dom.
Hello.
Hey, Dave. We've seen any of my
Let's all talk over each other.
I use ellipses all the time. All the time. Good evening, Dom.
Howdy and aloha. Welcome.
It's catchy.
Why the hell I'm waving is beyond me.
Dave. I'm hearing Dave's voice.
I said, why the hell I'm waving is beyond me.
Dave, I want to see your face. Where are you, Dave?
Happy anniversary, Dave.
I actually I didn't get in here until like a couple weeks after, because I know I hit the left forum and then I saw your group and then you guys' group and then I got in, but yeah, happy anniversary! I didn't realize that you guys had only been gone for a couple of weeks.
Just a couple of weeks. Yeah, about a month or so.
Howdy. See the songs in my head.
I missed Chuck E. Cheese. I missed all sorts of drama. I missed After Hours Russiagate apparently.
So that's
After Hours Deep State.
But you've had the best porn on your show, Dave.
Oh well, thank you.
420.
I don't know.
420 Snicker Peanut.
Oh, that guy. Oh yeah. Yeah, why doesn't he come on?
That's my grandparents.
It is the anniversary show after all.
Your
just have a
grandparents?
Snicker
What,
Penis mascot.
They escaped Germany.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Whoa. God, what a nice picture.
That is a good picture.
Guess who that is?
Oh, that's Ryan's smile.
Is that you? That's a
mom
chef, man. That's that chef we just saw.
That's me. That's my nana, my pop.
Did you break your arm?
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's me on the right. I would have been about 4.
And this is in Melbourne?
Damn, you were 4 in that picture?
Don't know.
You were 4? Are you sure?
Look at those knees. God, look at those knees. Nice.
Yeah, because Tim, the guy next to me, he's a few months younger than me. But he's not 5. He's 4.
So when did you get your growth spurt?
I'm a big guy. Don't worry. I'm a big guy.
Yeah, when did you get your growth spurt? Yeah.
Hanging on to my pee-pee. See? Hanging on to my pee-pee.
Oh, there you are. You're on the... Okay. There you go.
Look at the smile on my face.
I'm recording the channel.
So that's my older brother in the middle. And that's my dad's best friend's son.
So you and Angus from AC/DC?
Nah.
I like the look. It looks like an Angus look.
That's
there
me,
we go.
At my wooliest. That's probably as long as my beard has been.
Your wooliest?
Yeah, wooliest.
That's very ZZ Topish. I like it.
Yeah, that's definitely Dusty. Dusty.
I've got other photos, but for some reason they're not on Facebook. So, yeah, I might upload them to MeWe and then share them.
Bring them on, MeWe. Bring them on.
That's me when I was a baby.
Let me see.
It's up there.
Let's see some other pictures of you, like in playing basketball or cheerleading or whatever you do.
I don't have any of those because.
Really?
My parents were not into taking pictures of me. I have hardly any
pictures.
I didn't have normal parents, remember?
I don't think anybody's got normal parents.
My parents were not normal.
Not mine at all.
My mom
They
loves
were
taking
fun.
pictures.
I loved them both.
Yeah.
Here's some pictures of me as a kid and my family. Not sure if you guys can see them.
Oh, look at that!
Dad. Put it on the share.
Can you share?
Well, I'm doing something else right now, so I can't really bring it up. But like, I don't know. There they are. I'll try to zoom them in.
You know what's there's some cute pictures. Oh, look at that. There you are, buddy. Is that your mom and your pa? Or?
That's my Uncle Charlie and my dad.
Oh, okay.
I love that picture.
So the middle guy, the middle one is my father. The little short one is my father. And then to his left is my uncle and my auntie. Both of the uncle and auntie were born in detainment camps in Europe. So, and my pop would have been about 40. Oh, we would have been probably kicking on 60. No, sorry, 50, 51, 52 there. Because my dad.
Boy, he was.
You know what?
He was 46 when my dad was born.
That is such an epic picture. It makes me want to sing this song. So, a deer, a female.
Yeah, I get that vibe too.
A drop of gold, and so it's like the Sound of Music wardrobe.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
I didn't see any Lederhosen, but yeah.
Okay, that's nostalgia. Total awesome nostalgia.
Completely. Well,
so that photo would have been taken back in the 50s.
Yeah.
That photo, because my dad was born in 51.
That was a great hat he was wearing.
Yeah, my pop was.
He was rocking that hat, man. That hat looked.
Tommy Lauren would have hated my pop because he never learned a lick of English.
That sounded funny.
What a bitch.
Man, I'm not. Lauren doesn't speak English.
My pop didn't.
No, I got that part of it, but I was. You said your dad's name wasn't Tommy Lauren.
No. It's Michael. But no, she's come out and saying how people immigrants have got to assimilate and learn English and all this other type of stuff.
Bullshit.
And my pop lived in Australia for nearly 40 years and didn't learn a lick of English. He got pulled over. He got pulled over by the cops once for not giving way at a roundabout, and he didn't understand what the cop was fining him for. So they had to drive back to his house where my nana was, who spoke English, to relay what he did wrong and why he was being pulled over. And that was back in the 60s. That 66 it happened. So, very different days back then. Today it'd be just like, shut the fuck up, here's your ticket, get fucked. But back in those days, it's like, okay, let's go back to your house and find a translator and all that type of stuff. So,
yeah, I think there was a lot more freedom, generally speaking, back in those times. I thought the same thing about a lot of the grifting and the stuff that my dad used to do, the stuff he used to get away with. It would be unheard of these days because we're so buttoned down now and we're so oversaw, as far as the courts and the police state and, our own inhibitions,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got a photo that'll stump you. Hang on, just let me bring it up. Tell me if it's me or my father. Hang on. Let me go back to idiot Facebook. What happened?
So the breaking news here from Jimmy Dore is Rick Perry. Dennis Miller mean jokes to use on female comedian.
Do what?
Well, that was I got a flash on my update. It was a Jimmy Dore update, so he's probably got a new video up.
Female comics.
About on female comics, yeah.
Which depending on which female comics we're talking about.
Oh, he's talking about because he was talking about he didn't like the one chick that was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So he said he said something about writing a joke. Give me a week and I'll write some jokes or something.
Well, a week or so ago, Dennis Miller again, the right-wing comedian, was in the news. And Rick Perry, I think Rick Perry, isn't he the ex-governor from Texas? The Republican governor?
He's our energy advisor.
Oh, he is the energy advisor now. That's right.
Yep.
Rick Perry.
That's beyond fucking belief.
Mr. Brains, Rick Perry. Yeah.
The whole thing is ass backwards. All of it. Everything.
It is completely, James.
It's fucking just amazingly in the wrong. It's like Bizarro World. It's fucking Bizarro World.
It's a crazy, man.
Bizarro World.
So that's my old man there on the left, and people say I look like him.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see the jeans.
I mean, the time frame, though, I definitely wouldn't say.
But culturally, though, the clothes, no.
Yeah.
No, that would have been taken back in the 70s.
Groovy threads on, man. You got some good threads on.
Were they wearing those bell bottoms? Oh my god.
Oh yeah, they did the whole dude. They did the whole works, man.
Did they?
They didn't fuck around.
They didn't fuck around.
No.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Howdy. And over.
Welcome to Manaway.
I am never going to get that song off my mind this week.
No, you won't. It'll be stuck.
Aloha.
Passing away.
It's going to be in your heads. Ooh.
Just sit back and wank.
Trigger.
They call that earworms.
Freaking earworms.
Oh. Yeah. No, it's called catchy tunes.
And aloha.
Oh, catchy tune.
I'll be listening. I'm going to go have a cigarette. I have my earbuds in.
Me and you, aloha.
We are all Jews. Let's kill Palestinians.
You know who would have sung that really well, James? Is that Israel?
Yeah.
The big guy?
Yeah, the guy who did Over the Rainbow.
Yeah, he would have been. That would have been fucking awesome if you could have got him to sing it.
Oh my God, I love is
I wouldn't have dug him up from the grave though. That would have been.
Who are we talking about?
Yeah,
is.
Didn't they scatter him at sea?
Yes. Oh my God, I cried. I was there.
His name was Iz?
Yes, IZ.
His real name is Israel, but
oh, that is okay. I got it.
Oh, but you gotta watch him get thrown out to sea. You'll cry. I was there when that happened. It was just
hang on. Let me bring it up. Okay.
Oh man, I gotta go to the bathroom though.
No, wait.
Yeah, I'll wait. I'll wait.
Thank you. You're mean.
I'm just fucking with you guys.
I know.
It's been a year. At some point, start fucking with people, right? It's like my longest relationship.
I like how everyone's here. And we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep fighting, and we're just going to do a lot, even more than ever.
Exactly. We're going to get Hillary Clinton on here one day.
Oh, hell no.
We're going to raise some money for TYT. We're going to raise some money for Hillary. It's about time this nation woke up to the reality.
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yep.
The man lady.
We're going to get,
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
We're going to make sure everyone knows about Jill Stein and her bullshit, because I'm sick of that.
I am sick of that. No,
we're gonna smear those
They think they know everything.
Those
God,
dude, she was exchanging fucking notes with Putin under that table. God knows what happened after.
Oh, you
that
know
dinner.
she was smoking him. You know she was smoking him.
And she's taking that.
That's one way to put it.
Republicans. She's taking money. You know she's taking money.
Maybe that's not all either. Who knows?
Well, she could probably be taking that too, but
who knows? I'm not saying anything. I'm just raising questions. Questions.
I think throwing a hypothetical, just throwing a hypothetical out there.
Hypothetical, you know. I mean, she's taking it from Chink. She's taking it from Jordan Cheriton, you know.
Yeah.
Look, hang on. At the end of the day, a hand job is a fucking hand job. I don't care who it's from.
That's right, Ryan.
But a stain on a blue dress means what?
It's time we start.
I had a good time.
Bill Clinton got a blowjob, and he was dicking bimbos at home.
Dicking bimbos, that's
it.
it.
Still is from the WikiLeaks email. Colin Powell said he ain't got time for his bimbos.
I have a little jingle. Dicking bimbos. Dicking
I
bimbos
like that because it
home.
rolls off the tongue. Dicking bimbos. Oh,
no, because like with me, I put it in like a little small jingle because I like small jingles since fun, small, funny jingles though.
Yeah.
Like with me, what I just did, dicking bimbos at home. Like it sounds catchy.
It's creative. I like it.
Welcome and Dick Bimbo.
Dicking bimbos. It's gonna be an earworm.
Dicking bimbos on my nut talk.
Eric, that sounds like something out of a musical or something. Like if you could expand that.
Yeah, you could make some money on Broadway with that, Eric.
It does sound like kind of like a.
But I like satire. Like with me, I just want to create like offensive humor, like humor that people will be offended by. Hey, that at least that brings more people into discussion and wanting just to know. It's like that one movie, Hamlet 2. That was a real funny movie. It's a real funny movie. I won't give out like too many details, but it's a great movie.
These are all the only photos of my childhood that I kept. Not a lot.
Yeah, because you're not allowed to keep because North Korea confiscate them, don't they?
Yeah, they keep it for the historical records, and then they burn them.
Yeah, because we know where you're coming from, Mr. Kim.
Evan beating some shit out of some kid for food.
Yeah. Stealing his pancakes.
It's pretty sad situation.
That's my fucking kimchi, you fucking
Evan in the political prisoner camp.
You guys are so racist.
The rice patties.
It's got nothing to do with race.
Yes, the rice
I don't see many South Koreans in enslavement camps.
Sorry, when you're drunk, you're just kind of like Space Cadet on the toilet.
All right.
I'm back.
All right, ready?
Did you wash your hands?
Off the toilet.
Yes.
Here's one of my. That was me.
Karate Kid.
Ready to kick some ass.
That's awesome.
Oh, this is my favorite.
Howdy and aloha.
Oh, that's the original. All right.
Once in a lullaby, oh, somewhere dream of dreams really do come true.
It's a pretty song, but kind of an absurd video.
On the stars, wake up with the clouds you far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where
Okay, bye. Hey, somebody let Ben in, please.
Okay, there's probably gonna be some strikes, and everybody gets a strike. Just stream one on everybody's.
Dream that you did to why can't I? Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Melt you like a lemon drop high above
the chimney tops. That's where
you find me.
Hey, I was right.
That's quite a.
I was where the flags are.
That's a hell of a wake.
I know, right?
Wow.
James, I wanted to ask you something after this video.
Wait.
This one's
I love you, Iz. I love you.
You guys, in the beginning of that song, you guys don't know this. You guys don't know this, but he sang that song for Gabby Pa'anui.
Mm-hmm.
And Gabby Pa'anui used to sing with my father a lot.
No way.
There you go, James.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and Gabby Pa'anui is like the original Hawaiian song guy. He's created a lot of great songs that were out there.
In Hawaii, he was just as important or popular as Elvis is here.
Yeah, he was, definitely.
So you're
he
saying
was,
this guy was like the real deal as opposed to Don Ho?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Don Ho was just Don Ho had a pretty good voice, but he wasn't like that. Don Ho was like, he's an entertainer kind of guy. Don Ho had a pretty good voice, but as far as entertainment, I mean, he lasted for long. He did not have a gig. Don Ho was always selling out tickets. People just went to see him. If it was like tradition, we're going to go see Don Ho in Hawaii. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's just the way it was.
well, the reason why Iz was so loved is because his soul was so awesomely sweet, and it was always full of love, and all he ever wanted in his lifetime was to see the world love each other. And it was just like he was so honored and revered as the epitome of pure love. And it's just like, I mean, I love him.
I can't tell, Rebel.
Oh,
yeah, I'm a little on the cusp, on the edge on if she really likes him or not.
No, James, this is good for me tonight, man.
You got a question, Eben, for me? Go ahead, sir.
Disrespect your song so much.
Eben had a question.
Eating, so I didn't want to. We were talking about this last night about the volcanoes going off in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And whether, because the Hawaiians don't want to move out of the way from
right, they don't want to redirect the flow.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on that, James?
Are you saying that there are Polynesians that are ignorant? Yes, there are.
No, not ignorant. It's just that they're their beliefs are that it's wrong to redirect the flow of the
because
lava.
Mother Earth needs to move how she has.
You know what? This has been brought up many times.
It's off topic.
Many times. And every time this thing goes off, they're like, good luck. Just go ahead and redirect it. Good luck. And it never works.
Yeah. We were comparing Iceland to Hawaii for another reason.
There
was fracking going on by where the eruptions started. Now it works in Iceland because it's different. They play around with their magma. They take risks because there are so few people in Iceland that if they had to, if things didn't work out, they could move Reykjavik. You really can't move Hawaiians. But in trying to create too much energy over fracking, I'm concerned that they may have actually triggered the volcanic reaction.
Whoa, that's not good. It doesn't take much.
Because people say it doesn't happen in Reykjavik, but for up there, they do have people that constantly have to reset and work on their pressure levels. They're extremely careful not to overpressurize their wells. They use a loop system.
Yeah, wouldn't the geology be different between Hawaii and Reykjavik though? I got to think the geology is going to be different.
They're both young islands. They're similar in that point.
There we go. Then
but like I said, there's less risk with Reykjavik. They could actually just move it.
Well, also, I mean, Reykjavik isn't in the center of that plate either. I mean, and that bears some,
Grab that fly, Snork.
No, I'm having a problem with something larger than a fly.
I mean, are the geological events like the volcanoes is it easier to predict them in Hawaii or in Reykjavik, or is there a real difference?
No, a prediction is still difficult. But what happened is that the Hoa, excuse me if I got the name wrong, was trying to generate lots of power without using a lot of solar cells. They just they thought just go geothermal, and started doing injection wells by the area where it started fissuring. And I can't imagine that, well, it might not have been involved, but I can't imagine it didn't increase the risk. And now they can't get people in there to shut off the injection wells.
Oh, wow.
Now, but beneath these fissures, is there like a caldera? Like, I know that there's one like underneath a volcano. There's like some kind of magma chamber or something. But underneath the fissures themselves, is there a danger of these fissures exploding in a more dramatic way than they have been?
Their concern was if the lava drains too low,
the water will come in.
Well, the truth is they've already let the water in by fracking it in through the injection wells for the geothermal. I think I did bring up I had concerns with geothermal being too close to a volcano before.
So the water is the only real concern as far as that goes. We don't have to worry about a huge chunk of land collapsing into a magma pit or something.
I don't know what's going to happen with the magma pit. The magma is missing.
Magma.
Yeah, magma. It's missing. I mean, it was just like 1,000 feet deep. Just suddenly, you could look down into the caldera.
That seems to suggest that there's some kind of escape valve somewhere under there. And well, you just have to wonder if it's going to pool up in a spot.
There is another island forming southeast of Hawaii. But my point wasn't that it was ignorant of Hawaiians not to redirect it, but that the redirection efforts of the Icelanders, given them a lot of experience at when to add heat or take away heat, that the Hawaiians can't get because they don't play around with the lava like the Icelanders do. And the Hawaiians have a belief that messing with the lava can be bad, which scientists like me would say, yes, the Hawaiians are correct. The messing with lava can be bad.
Yeah, just don't have the capability to redirect underground like massive underground lava flows.
Well, no.
How would you even think of, just trying to block or maneuver? It usually doesn't work very long because most of the time those dams or whatever they use don't work, and it just erupts somewhere else or goes around it, or it's just fucking stupid.
Hawaii doesn't have large amounts of ice water. Iceland does.
Hey, James, on yours,
there's a clue right there. Cold water. Hawaii, 80-degree water just isn't going to hit it.
Hey, James, only 2 people can hear it on your stream.
What?
They can only hear like 2 people on your stream for some reason.
There's 2 people on my screen?
Your stream, they can only hear 2. They can't hear everybody on here.
Oh, they can only hear me?
And somebody else, I guess. It's whatever. Stan says somebody has.
Oh, I see it. Let me see here.
It was basically only Snork talking, so maybe that's why.
It's on channel description.
I have a question that's unrelated, okay? I was reading about the Kursk submarine accident today. And I was trying to figure out, like, if they had actually raised a reactor, and it looks like they have, or like the better part of it. But anyways, like are you guys familiar with the Kursk accident?
When did that happen? It's been a few years.
Like in the 2000, I believe.
Yeah.
James can be heard of it. Okay.
And anyways, the thing went down like it's a Russian sub. It was the pride of the fleet, whatever.
Yep.
And it sank. And anyways, when it exploded, it caused a 4.5 on Richter scale earthquake that could be felt as far away as Alaska. Now, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, maybe Snork, you could explain how that's possible? Standard explode, some kind of stand, because that indicates like something bigger going off. I mean,
where did it go down again? No, was that in Central Pacific?
In the North Sea.
North Sea.
Yeah.
So even in the Atlantic. Wow.
So, any explanation for that?
Well, a nuclear missile has a large amount of conventional explosives to trigger. When I look at the damage to the vessel, I'm not seeing melted material.
What was the depth? We're talking about distance. We're talking about water covering it.
This does not look like an implosion.
Well, apparently what happened was they were loading a dummy torpedo. This is the official story. They were loading a dummy torpedo that was full of a modified form of peroxide, or it was based, it had some kind of peroxide element to it, which is very volatile. And it somehow triggered a switch, which caused something to, interact with something else. And the armaments in the ship began to go off. Like there was one explosion, and then that explosion caused the armaments in the ship to detonate.
Wow.
Like some of the torpedoes and some of the other equipment.
And it started off of an environmental problem? No,
apparently it was a mistake. They were loading a dummy torpedo, and something happened.
And they were out at sea in the North Atlantic at the time. They weren't docked. Right.
Yeah, but I just wonder. I mean, a 4.5 earthquake that could be felt as far away as Alaska. Like, feel free to look that up. I mean, that's what it says.
Because
How could that happen without in a conventional armaments?
Define felt as far away as Alaska.
Yeah, because
It was
that's a
picked
long
up on
ways over to
seismic.
Alaska. That's over 3,000 miles away. Easily.
Okay, these are the pictures of the recovered vessel. If you look at the end of it, if this was nuclear, those would be melted. It would be
much higher extreme temperatures, Snork.
Yeah. The water temperature doesn't matter. Not enough to quench it. If you look, what's not damaged here?
The launching bays or whatever.
Launching bays. So
it looks like it comes from the missile bays, right? Right.
No, it did not come from the missile bays. They are intact.
Intact, right?
So there was no nuclear involvement.
Well, I would think that if a nuke went off, like the whole thing would have,
or at least really, really nasty damage, showing a lot of heat.
And they certainly wouldn't have recovered it and let it sit out on a dock like that.
Oh, that's trippy.
Isn't that?
Or you'd hope not, at least.
The fact that you have to look at over on the top left, you've got it cut off there, but then the next column down on the top left there, you see the entire front end as it is intact, and you're thinking, wow, that sheared off like that.
Now, talk about the explosives that were in a torpedo. Well, a torpedo is meant to do large amounts of damage to a sea vessel.
Yeah.
So go back to the story of the
they want to open up a big
torpedo going off in the tube. Sounds very plausible.
I mean, who knows what actually happened? I'm just curious about, are there any other cases of this where like a submarine or a ship goes down and it causes like a seismic event like this?
I think we'd have to go back. We'd have to go back and look at some of the other sinkings and whatnot and see if there were, reports of the damages, and then compare the situations.
It's just curious. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
Maybe our seismographs are sensitive enough to pick it up, but still a 4.5.
That's a pretty good, bigger than what Snork's quake was.
Or around 4.5.
They're not usually what they are in the Northwest. What do we average in the Northwest, Rebel? About a 5?
About
a 5, maybe. Yeah.
Like Seattle, like right now today, it's probably getting 1s and 2s every few hours.
Right. But I was thinking back in the day, Snork. I was thinking, when I was a kid, and we had that big shaker in '64, and I think that was well over 5.
It's in a situation now called slow slip, where it's constantly going pop, 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 pop.
Slow slip, right?
Yep. Thank you, Harold. I'm always getting details wrong. It was in the Barents Sea.
Oh,
I know several years ago, Virginia, something happened in Virginia, and I was home, and all of a sudden my house shook. That was a weird feeling. I'm like, what the hell was that? And it stretched to different states. I forgot how far up to. But they said something happened in Virginia at some kind of plant or something. I'm not sure. Do you remember that?
So a chemical explosion?
No, it wasn't a chemical explosion. It's something that happened. Snork, you remember that?
Was that a Bleve, BLEVE explosion by train tracks?
No, it wasn't a train. No, that was weird that day. Cause I don't remember what it was, but I think my aunt was living in Virginia still then, and I'm like, and my neighbor, we came outside, and he was like, "Did you feel that crap?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I don't know what it was, and all over the news, it was going all over the news here.
Cheryl,
and they said,
what year was that? You remember the year? Because we could probably figure it out what that was.
I'm trying to. I had jury duty in 2000 and.
So within the last 20 years.
No, it was just the last about 5, 6 years.
Okay, so in this decade, yeah.
Yeah, just like when the power outage went out all in the east one time.
Right.
But this thing, I was in my dining room and my house shook. The whole house. I said, I'm not washing clothes, but it felt so weird.
So have you been in earthquakes before, Cheryl, at all?
No, never.
So
never.
You're not even used to them at all. Yeah.
No.
I do not like them at all.
I was in Ames, Iowa in the mid 80s. And my wife and I heard this explosion, and it was loud. We couldn't figure out what happened. And we found out the next day on the news that 2 kids were playing with their rifles and been told several times to go away by a place that kept all of the dynamite in the state for construction use, construction demolition.
Yeah, there we go.
And they were firing at the dynamite in there to try to see if they could go off like fireworks. And all they found was a little tag off of one of the guy's shirts.
Yeah.
It's enough to identify the shirt. But we heard it 37 miles away.
Well, for some reason, for me, in my head, until I figured out and heard about nitroglycerin and how volatile it is, I always thought of like TNT sticks as being like freaking road flares. They're not road flares. They're volatile.
The reason you might confuse it is there's the
shape thing, just the way they look, was probably just as simple as that was my confusion.
Oh, also there's another thing called a torpedo that the railroad uses. It looks like a portion of a fuse flare with 4 legs on it that are made of lead that you wrap around a rail.
Okay. Yeah.
If a train hears one go off, because they go off, they're bang, they're actually dynamite. When the train rolls over them, they trigger it. And it's an immediate warning to the train engineer to slow down 15 miles an hour. If they hear a whole bunch of them in a row, they come to immediate stop. Like there's an emergency on the rail.
So this was a signaling method, like back in the day when they didn't have like radios, that kind of stuff.
Even back when they had radios, it was a fail safe.
Fail safe.
If the radios failed, they still would have the explosions were so loud that the train could hear them no matter what their speed was.
Well, that to me just, I mean, I was really enthralled with that TV show on AMC. It was called Hell on Wheels, and it was showing the transnational railroad being built across, to Utah, and then coming across, the Chinese coming across from over the Sierra Nevadas, and it was like they were using TNT all the time, to blow open the,
I saw that series. It was done really well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, I found out what year it was and what date. It was August 23rd, 2011, a 5.8 magnitude earthquake centered in Virginia and was felt across our area. The earthquake centered near Louisa, Virginia, which is north of Richmond, about 230 miles. And they had damage here at an Independence Blue Cross building in the center of the city. The windows shattered. I mean, that thing was kind of, I never felt nothing like that before in my life.
What year was that?
It hit Camden, 2011. August 23rd, 2011.
Was that the one that damaged the Washington Monument?
Let me see. I didn't hear
Very
about the
well be. I
Washington
mean, they don't get that many
Monument.
earthquakes in Virginia.
Yeah.
They're definitely not in the earthquake zone.
There was one
There was
near.
an earthquake.
There was one near Washington D.C. that damaged the Washington Monument so bad it had to be shut down for a long period of time.
And you're not thinking
Maybe that was it.
All right, everybody, I'm out of here. I got to get some rest. I got to get up
All right.
early.
Good night,
Thanks for
Dad.
coming in, Chad.
We love
Great
you.
chat.
Happy anniversary.
Good to see you, man.
Take
You
care.
too, guys.
It was good to see you.
Good seeing you, Jet.
See ya.
So just to
It went all the way up to Reading, West Reading, PA.
I'm sure that's the one.
so
Yeah.
just to get a better
Because
idea,
it's
like
Sum up.
everything's going into chaos. So just to get a better idea, I mean, does that seem unusual to you, Snork, that such an event would cause a seismic event like that?
No.
Okay.
Have you looked at the terrain around that area?
No. Like you're talking at the seabed, right?
Yeah.
No.
You think it was a train snort?
No. There's a mountain range there.
So
That's
we're talking about the submarine. We're back on the submarine.
back to the submarine.
Oh yeah, sorry, I should have been clear. Like, does that seem unusual to you that the submarine disaster would cause a seismic event like that?
I don't know that I would consider that unreasonable.
Okay.
Because I know that the explosion that we heard 38 miles away did register as a major. They have to closely analyze large quarry explosions to make sure that they're not nuclear tests, which also pretty much register kind of like an earthquake. So although this wasn't a nuclear explosion, you're talking about a lot of explosives meant to that torpedo might not have been a one that was meant to go off on contact, but meant to go off by a ship and still take out a ship or submarines in a big ball of an area.
Like the equivalent of an air burst.
Right. But if they were deep when it went off, it adds more pressure. And then during this brisant phase, when it just wants to tear everything apart, it does more pressure you have that holds it back. The stronger it gets. And like the difference between a firecracker going off and a piece of black powder being used like on a flash bar for the old cameras. It's when you contain it, when you've got the pressure, that it suddenly overcomes that and goes. You get the extreme explosion. So I do think it is feasible. And that doesn't mean that it didn't trigger another event to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think there was a secondary explosion, and then, this wouldn't have been related to this, but some crew members got some cartridges out, and they got connected. They were dropped in some seawater or something, and after surviving the initial disaster, they ended up torching themselves because of it. There's like a whole compartment of survivors that were torched because they were playing around with equipment in the dark.
Can you tell me, I had another general question for you, Noam, about that particular submarine. Was that a nuke boat?
Well, it was powered. Like, it
was a nuke boat.
I don't think they never mentioned anything about warheads.
Right.
So,
talking about nuclear powered. Yeah. Nuclear powered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you looked at the side of that, why would you put launch tubes like that on something that's not nuclear powered?
Right.
It was the pride of the fleet, blah, blah, blah. I mean,
right. It was nuke powered. It was a nuke boat.
Well, it was powered, definitely. But the thing that they don't mention is whether it had warheads on it or not.
Right. Right. Well, that's what I mean. When I say, being an ex-sub, I wished I would have been a submariner. But being an ex-Navy guy, when I say nuke powered, I've studied some of the Nimitz stuff and all of that. So I take that for granted because I've got it in my brain.
Yeah.
But yeah, for a lot of people, it'd be like, Well, is he talking about propulsion?
Yeah, Snork was.
The way they hide is go deep, stay under for a long time, and zigzag all over the place.
Yep. They don't have to.
Snork, you were.
Go ahead.
Snork, you were right, because that was the earthquake, because they had to close down the Washington Monument. I found an article on it.
You know, I vaguely remember them talking about having to close the Washington Monument, but I didn't even put it together with they had an earthquake.
They were really vague about that incident, though. I really don't know what happened.
Yeah.
All we know what happened in Louisa, Virginia.
You know, and you're always, you know, these days, you know, in the last 20 years, you know, it's always terrorism, you know, and here it is, an earthquake, you know, a natural occurrence that we can't really effectively do anything about, short of stopping fracking and a lot of these other things. But it's not a terrorist
Yeah,
act.
we are more at risk from nature than we are from any weapon, no matter how bad it is.
Yeah.
And we still make threats and do all of these things to put all of our efforts into the war on people. And we really need to be learning how to adapt to our environment, because we're not even near ready. Out where I live, we don't have many earthquakes. If we do, they're minor. And we do have our tornadoes. We do have derechos. And a derecho can start in Chicago and a few hours later leave a path of destruction all the way to New York. And it's starting to happen more common. It used to be once every 50 or 60 years there'd be a derecho. Now there's getting to be 3 or 4 a year.
So is that like a super tornado, Snork?
No, a tornado spins.
Right. Oh, a derecho does
Derecho
what?
goes straight. It actually means right, a right wind.
Ooh.
So
tornadoes are the worst.
No, derechos are.
But derechos, because it's directed at a particular point, it could do more destruction.
After one derecho, halfway between Chicago and Dubuque, I had to drive through there, and all of the signs were just, the wind hit so hard and so fast, it didn't break down the poles. It just bent the signs back around the poles.
What's that? What kind of wind speed is that, Snork? Category?
The categories of the wind speeds would be, of that one, were somewhere around 140 to 170 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
We had a TV antenna tower in our backyard. It was 50 feet tall, but it was like 18 inches on the side. It was really sturdy structure, and it bent it. Just bent it down.
Hey, Snork, I have a question.
By the way,
can the government control the weather?
What's that?
Aloha, guys.
Hey, dude.
Night.
Night, James.
Thank you. Aloha. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Love you. Take care.
See you soon.
Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. Happy anniversary.
That's a better song. That's a better song.
The first night I came on, James and Ebon thought I was a troll.
I think I remember that.
You're not?
I know.
I speak trollish.
Could have fooled us.
Snork is just not a TYT troll, but he's a troll.
Shirley, what was the question?
Can the government control the weather?
Wow, they have the capability.
They salt the clouds.
Okay. Okay.
There's lots of different ways we could do it. Chemtrails would be one of the least likely ways.
Yeah, the stuff I see up in the sky.
That's normal. What you're seeing, all the contrails are because of climate change. There's so much moisture in the air. The plane's jet exhaust mixes with the air and leaves those trails really easy because all kinds of stuff condenses behind those vortexes behind planes. And when you add just a little bit of jet soot, it's something for the water to glom on. As clear skies we had in the last 30 years were the days after 9/11, when all the planes are out of the skies. If I think I pulled up here before, all of the flights going across the country at one given time. During the day, there are so many flights going on. The last thing that the United States wants to do, because anything that inhibits flight or makes flight more difficult, costs the people that pay a lot of money to help them get elected, because people complain when their planes are rough in the air, and whatever contrails make the air rough. They will cause turbulence. So the government would want to keep their big donors like Boeing, Lockheed, whatever, happy. They would not do any program that endangers getting large amounts of donations from those industries.
Cheryl, have you ever looked at any of that? We were looking at that. I was on the night that Snork was talking about. We were talking about Syria. We were looking at, the normal versus the military flying over a particular airspace, that kind of thing. And I don't think in those terms. I need to broaden my thinking a little bit. I think in terms of like what I can, physically see most of the time. So, I'll see like a congestion on the freeway, something like that, where there's a lot of cars or that kind of thing. But we're talking about multi-dimensions here. We're talking about 3D. We're talking about lots and lots of planes in the air. You can see how many planes there are. And then you think about all the people on the earth walking around, driving their cars. I mean, we're talking some serious congestion. And if we don't, as a people, even understand simple interactions of like the air and, these different chemical reactions that, in our air could cause like more water, more oxygen, more CO2, more noxious gases, whatever it is. We're definitely at a deficit for fixing a lot of our problems.
Well, with a lot of other, like similar to many other technologies, in my opinion, it's hard to tell like exactly what the government or other entities' level of weather control technology actually is.
Yeah.
Like, again, there's $3 trillion missing. Like, that means that there are...
3 trillion is not missing. 21 trillion.
It was 21 when I saw that number, yeah.
Yeah, I think initially it was reported as 3 trillion, wasn't it? And then it jumped.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's gone up, right?
There's an damn near infinite amount of money missing. And I'm sure lots of that went into all kinds of crazy programs. And then when you considered, the advancement of technology in general, I mean, it's not inconceivable that there is technologies that we would consider 40, 50 years ahead of where we're at.
Yeah, exactly. That's why, we've got areas like Area 51, we've got, Groom Lake, we've got these, these different air bases and whatnot doing their flight testing. And that's just a small drop in the bucket.
So who knows, like what level of technologies that these people have, whether we're talking about weather control.
But I don't believe they're better than Russia at all. All these other countries are well advanced more in technology than we are. What was that last month? Like 8 fighter pilot jets crashed in the U.S.
It's because of the it's because of these damn profiteers. Like the F-35.
Yeah, they're not making the stuff right. They're not making it right.
Yeah, they're just selling us like garbage, and we're paying billions.
Shit. Yeah.
So,
There's
like
no
I was
way.
bitching about this last night. The Navy wants to go back to the old F-14s because of this piece of shit.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they want to go back to all these old things. And Snork was saying they're refitting like some of the old planes with drone technology and all of this.
Turning them into drones, yeah. Yeah.
These things that they're selling us don't have the operational capabilities that we need. And
my thing is, they think their technology is better. It's not better. Look at what happened to the DNC.
I got an example.
It's not better.
I've got an example, and it's a little bit off topic, but it's something that I'm frustrated with because, it's our communication vehicle. It's broadband communication. But I had some old DSL at my old apartment before I moved last year, and it was actually faster than this new DSL that I have here in my current apartment, and it's an older technology. You would think, everybody touts technology as bigger, better, faster, whatever, a lot of times new technology, it might be new, it might be the newest, best way to slice your bread, but fuck it, if it don't fit and it, you got to step backwards because come on, I would rather have my old technology here, and it costs me more money to put the new technology in. It's exactly, I think, in some regards, what Cheryl is saying, we're now paying for inferior technology.
Yeah.
How many different cell phones do we have? Like, how many actually different choices do we have? I mean, maybe like, I don't know, 4 or 5 or something. Doesn't seem like that many.
I know. I think it's gonna be cut down to just 3.
Google, how many percentage of people use Google? What will Google tell me? I mean, what is the truth?
Yeah.
Okay. On those F4 Phantoms, I just read that they're done.
Are they in service?
We're done refitting them.
They used them for Top Gun training, so they could actually have live fire.
So they didn't turn them into drones then?
So they turned them into drones, but they flew them in fighter. Mock battles.
Mock combat.
And then they let them actually shoot them down.
Yeah, mock combat.
So they're not planning
drone drones. They're not drone drones.
They could have. They could have been, but they didn't. They said they've discontinued it.
That would have been effectively a good way to train, though.
In what you're reading, does it say how much it cost for the refits?
Yeah. Was it cost effective at all?
I don't know. Just even flying those Top Gun programs cost a lot of money.
The aviation fuel alone.
So,
did anyone see the video with Jimmy Dore and Oliver Stone?
I saw it. I don't know, not Stone.
And he talked about how back then when he was 15 years old, when the Russians was coming. He said right now today it's even scarier. It's scarier than when he was 15.
Well, I forget how much. Like I read one time how much it costs just to simply get a plane off the deck of an aircraft carrier, and it's some ridiculous amount when you put it all together.
What their operational costs are?
Yeah, it's some absurd amount just to get a plane off the deck. When you put all the factors in together, it's in the hundreds of thousands, I think.
And we take all this stuff in, most of the time, we take it in piecemeal, because effectively a lot of it is, that's what our brains can handle when we're trying to wrap our heads around, what the fuck is going on. But if we're not looking at it in any kind of an integrated way, how are we going to understand any of this?
I don't know, man. We don't need new armaments.
But bottom line to me, we don't. I agree with you. No, we don't need.
We need refits, and we actually need to dismantle some of this shit because we don't need it, and then we can put some of this other stuff to use in civilian life, like all those hundreds of thousands. I mean, you drive through Nevada, you go past these things. There's just trucks, like in these depots on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
And like those all could be put to use. You could refit tanks to do all kinds of crazy things. They don't necessarily have to fire up shells.
They could definitely turn over my garden plot.
So we go, I say we just generally, I don't mean to offend anybody, but like we we go to Walmart. We don't we know it's maybe not the best place that we should shop, or we go to Amazon or maybe Kroger or Google. How do we avoid that? How is that avoidable? Like, how do you actually avoid doing this thing that it's not really good?
Well, a lot of it depends on where you live. Like if
and
a lot of it is where you live.
In rural areas, like where I live now, it's hard for people to have a choice except to go to Walmart if they have a family or something.
I'll drive where I can save the money though. Doesn't really matter. So it ends up being
Yeah, a lot of people don't have the money though to drive like 50 miles to go to someplace.
You save the money. You save the money. I don't know how people have money to go to a higher price grocery store.
Well, let me interject real quick, guys. Let me interject on Ben real quick there. You're talking about driving somewhere, and I live in the same town that you do, Ben. So I'm aware of what the gas prices are. Are you factoring that in, your gas price?
Yeah, I mean, basically, let's say 5 gallons of gas, which would be like well enough to get anybody groceries probably here. It's not really remote. $15, and then in the hundreds and hundreds of dollars that you're going to spend on groceries a month, things like that.
Well, it's time too.
Definitely, it's worth it.
And I was just going to say it's time as well.
Yeah, you got to drive like 50 miles and then 50 miles back. I mean, and you've got kids and all this other crap. Like it's hard, and so that's why I can't blame
people.
I can't blame some people too much. But at the same time, there's other options that you can kind of use to supplement your Walmart shopping. Like you can go to secondhand stores. There's a fucking secondhand store in every town almost.
Sure.
Like you can go to a secondhand store. Like a lot of rural areas have local meat producers, things like that. There's things that you can do to avoid it.
We're not taught. We don't have a lot of examples. Well, my thing is, I like the MacGyver stuff. I think of myself, try to think of myself as a tinkerer, that kind of thing. So, what Noam is saying makes sense, because why not go and try and make something old work and be functional, if it does the job for you. But we don't have a lot of examples like that. That's why I was talking about Lady Ada earlier and, maker movement and, a lot of this DIY movement. That kind of thing, because it actually empowers people as well. And then you get all this creative thing going on. It's amazing what creative juices, what people do, the talent and the creative genius that we have out there. It's fucking rotten on the vine at this point.
Well,
I love doing shit like that.
Like housewares, like you can pick up all your pots and pans at a secondhand store.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no reason to go to Walmart for housewares. There's no reason to go. I mean,
in like Portland,
they kind of arranged it to make it hard for a lot of citizens not to buy into their system. All the local stores have been driven out of town because of Walmart.
I mean, water can be more expensive than soda. Junk food's way cheaper than vegetables.
Right.
And you talk about meat. I mean, and I don't know if anybody has any other experiences, but I've only seen like even pricier stuff at like meat markets. I think there's some places out there you can get probably something but I've seen like a lot of them that they get pretty pricey too though.
I agree. I agree with what you're saying, Ben, but I think it also goes back to, because we were talking about it a little bit earlier with Rebel and saying Rebel likes, because she's a chef and whatnot. And I'm sure Ryan has thought about this. I'm sure he's had some influence along these lines, because Ryan's been a chef, but they make a lot of things from scratch, but the whole idea about making things from scratch and whatnot versus pre-processed or, that kind of thing that might take less time to fix, it takes a lot more time to fix stuff from scratch, and you've got to have the skills, or at least the attitude or the time worked out with your family, wherever you're living, what your living situation is. There's so many factors that go into all these decisions. you know, and people are so, to me, beat down, you know, because they're being cornered into a smaller and smaller place. The options are less and less and less. You know, what the fuck are you going to do?
Community
bartering networks. I'm not a chef. And there's some of my chef friends, they're always bummed that they can't afford the meats that they cook at the restaurants they work at.
Yeah.
And, it's like it's not cheap. It depends
There's
what
a place. There's a place out on this side of town, and from where Ben lives in the west side of Portland, and I live generally speaking on the east side of Portland. But there's a place on my side of town on the east side of Portland called White's Country Meats. It's out in a suburb of Portland called Gresham. But that place is unbelievably would be like my hands down choice to get all the meats that I could ever want. But their prices are very expensive.
And then you also have to bear in mind that if we had a sustainable meat production industry, like one that made sense, meat would be more expensive.
Yeah,
like
that too.
Period. So, you know, going to the local meat market is more like paying the price that you should be paying. The reason why you're not paying that price for meat is because of torture and environmental degradation.
But if you're a chef, you know how to make even the cheapest meat.
You can definitely make it taste better, and that's what I'm interested in doing.
There's lots of
living
restaurants
on my tight budget, but
there's lots of restaurants that will scam. Like they'll get this meat paste, right, and they'll get a whole bunch of cheap cuts of meat, and then they'll chop them all up and stick them together with this meat paste, and then they'll put it on the menu as a New York strip or something. Like that's a common practice.
I really feel sad for the people that don't know how to cook, because it's like
cooking is a very important skill that people should learn. Everybody should learn it.
Everybody should be a cook. Everybody.
There's a difference
And like
between not knowing how to cook and
making stuff from
eating
scratch.
it.
Say that again for a second.
I said there's a difference between not knowing how to cook and hating it.
Right. And if you don't,
some people hate to cook.
What camp are you in for a second?
I'm a pretty good cook, but I don't like it.
I want to eat when I'm hungry. There's been a lot of times, and there are a lot of things that I can cook from scratch, and to me, they taste pretty good. On the other hand, if I'm hungry, I don't take all the time to go and cook this, and then I find myself not being hungry.
Yeah, exactly. By the time I'm done cooking something, my appetite's gone.
That's because your scent, your nose, when it smells all that, it triggers your body to think you ate.
Yeah.
And that's good, you know, because then you don't pig out.
I've got the time now, so I've been spending a lot more time, like, you know, with recipes and thinking about what I want to eat, and, you know, trying to eat better because of my health condition and whatnot. But I was reading something just recently, and I hadn't even thought about it. A lot of it is just habit for me. But I like red sauce. You know, I like spaghetti. And somebody was telling me, though, you go and you buy tomatoes or whatnot, like in the off season. So you're in the wintertime, you're buying canned tomatoes or whatnot. And for me, it was always like, I'm going to buy stewed tomatoes, or I'm going to buy chopped tomatoes. And people are telling me, no, you're going to get a better deal if you buy a whole tomato and take the time to chop it up, because you're going to get a better quality tomato, you know, because it's like I think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Gnome, or, you know, misunderstand what you're trying to tell us, but it's like, if you're having processed meat and you don't know what the hell's in there, whether it's rat feces or whatever else the hell it is, and you don't want any of that in your food. So here it is with my red sauce example. And how do I know what they're chopping into that tomato if it's already a chopped up tomato?
Well, look at this, man. How many decades did it take for American citizens and American media to figure out that they were using that pink paste?
I know, God.
And for it to become like an issue of national concern. Decades.
Yeah.
Okay.
You talking about the slime?
Yep.
The slime.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
because
like,
what's that chef's name? He had a show on on ABC. They
And he
took
got
it
those
off.
kids to eat it. Like, remember, he got those. Like, he chopped. Like, he was like,
Well,
okay.
he had the parents come in and look at it. They bring in a chunk of beef, and they soak the beef in some ammonia or something.
Oh my God!
Then
yeah.
they grind it. They grind it, and that's your
ammonia?
hamburger.
Yep. Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, ammonia. That's what they use.
Well, you have to like it's like a bacteria. It's like a bacteria magnet. It's like a disease magnet.
Well, you got.
Yeah.
Well, you have to think when you get a bottle of ammonia, and if they tell you it's directions on there and a warning, if you ingest it, what do you have to do?
You don't want to sniff
Get your butt to the hospital.
Yeah, you don't want to be sniffing that stuff too long term.
Well, and let's also bear in mind the consequences of like grinding a ton of different animals together and combining them into one product. I mean, that's like kind of how Mad Cows started.
Yeah.
Because they were doing that with animal feed.
Yep, exactly.
Right. And so, not only do you have this paste that like attracts like every rat and roach and disease like within miles, like it already has inherent dangers in it because it's produced from multiple animals.
Oh my God! I should have just. You guys
some of the
started.
meat come with horse meat.
Oh,
You guys-
the IKEA meatballs that had horse meat. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
This is funny. You guys started out talking
Hey.
really good about food and everything, so I got hungry, and so I went and got me a plate full of my food, and then you guys turned it into all this gross shit, and now I don't want to eat. And I thought I should have just waited.
There was a big thing about horse meat in lasagnas coming out of Romania.
Oh wow!
Like that was being sold in England and stuff like that, and it was like chock full of horse meat.
Horse meat's an acceptable meat, like in many parts of the world.
I've had horse meat,
but not
I've
but
had
not when
horse meat.
not when it says beef lasagna on the package.
Yeah,
true.
Oh.
Beef lasagna. It's not horse. Did you say you had horse meat?
Yep, I've had horse meat.
So what's it taste like?
It's like buffalo. Have you had buffalo?
No.
Like sort of, and a little bit like deer as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a real deep red meat.
I have eaten bison.
Yeah, that's buffalo.
Tatanka.
There was this asshole restaurant owner in Phoenix, right? And he went over to Africa and he shot a lion. And then he started bragging about, I'm going to like sell a lion burger at my restaurant. And this is what you do. Like you enter some kind of raffle, and it was expensive, like $200 a ticket or something.
Wow.
You get this, if you win, you get a lion burger. Right. And anyways, like then he tried to sell a few of them or something. And one of I think it was ABC 15 or something, went in there and bought one of these lion burgers and tested it. And it had like 0.0001% lion in it. And it was all like a bunch of different meats, and like he was selling the burgers for like $150 or something.
Wow.
But I have to tell you guys something. In inner city neighborhoods, when they used to have markets, they took them out of there now. But the prices would be higher, and the meat section, you see the seasoned meat, like seasoned steak, and they were like, that's the manager's special. It's bad. And you go buy some chicken, and you get it home, the thing smells bad. That's what they sold. And they're still doing it, too, in some inner city neighborhoods.
Yeah, and that's, and our most at-risk people, that's what they're putting into their bodies. And it's the problem, and making these problems, mental health, physical disabilities, completely worse.
Well, if you're sensitive to that stuff, don't ever go into a Mexican grocery store.
Uh-uh.
Okay, because it smells like a slaughterhouse. Like it looks like a grocery store.
No,
But
not
it smells
not
like
just
slaughter.
Mexicans. Not just Mexicans. Spanish stores too.
Oh, I'm not talking. I'm
It's a
just not
market of-
talking about the ones in Mexico. Like I've had a couple like that here in the U.S. too that were pretty bad, but in Mexico itself, it's really bad.
Huh.
Like they don't have
I
any
don't.
kind of like, you know how they make chorizo? Like they get like a giant thing of the sauce, which is blood and a bunch of other like seasonings and stuff, and then they throw the meat in there and they just let it sit all day. So,
Excuse me, I have
go to
food
the
down my
Spanish
bra.
market. I go to the Spanish market by me. I just go by my seasoning because they have a real large container. But as soon as I get to that section where they have the meat and the seafood basically together, it smells horrible.
No, you've got to
Horrible.
be very.
That's supposed to-
Yeah, you've got to be very discerning about, where you get a lot of this stuff. I am a big bread eater. You guys can probably tell by looking at me. And
Stop that.
no, it fits what we're talking about because I like particular bread. I eat, bread that's probably healthy for me, because I've made those determinations over the years. So, I'm not eating Wonder Bread, that kind of thing. But I've gotten to the point now, I think environmentally, I've gotten more sensitive of, as I've gotten older, some of my bio defenses within my body have weakened, but I like particular things. I will go out of my way because we sit here and we listen to Cheryl, talk about, getting her spices from some places, or, we all make these determinations as to, what our consumer choices are. And I'm only going to now get this particular bread because I know it's probably better for me. I'm going to go out of my way to get it, because I buy this other bread. It's throwing my money away. It's a pile of shit bread. Doesn't taste good. We have to be more disconcerted. We have to be more discerning about.
I would suggest Nature's Own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I eat that.
Because they do not use the chemicals that make plastic.
Right.
That's what I use. And they have all different brands.
I love the
grain
honey.
And I love the butter bread.
Where do you normally get that at? What chain is that?
I get it.
I get it in the supermarket.
Yeah.
Now you got me so excited talking about what you call it. I just love Nature's Own bread. I go crazy for the honey wheat.
Yes.
Oh yes, me too.
Yeah, because
but you guys think, in my mind, of course, I'm stuck back in the 70s with 70s prices or 80s prices or even 1990s prices, right? But when I go to grocery store, buy a loaf of bread, and a decent loaf of bread is costing me $6.
God damn. In Portland?
Yes.
Wow.
$6 for bread.
Wow. Here, I could get Nature's Own for $1.50.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this
or
bread,
two for $3.
Right. This bread that I'm talking about, there's a particular brand out here. It's called Dave's, and they make Dave's bread, but it's regularly at Walmart. It is over $5.50.
Not here.
Yeah.
Man, I should just send you a bunch down.
It's another brand too, but I don't know if they took plastic out. That plastic stuff to make plastic out of their bread. I know I went to Nature's Own website and they had it on there. They took that stuff out because Subway was called out on being healthy. And somebody said, well, if you're so healthy, why are you using a chemical that make plastic in your bread? And they took it out of it.
Well, you know what else they use that in is the soft batch, like the Keebler soft batch cookies.
What chemical is that?
Filler. It's a filler. Yeah.
Yeah. Which chemical?
I'm not sure what I can't remember the name of it. I couldn't even pronounce it.
But they put it in those Keebler stuff too.
It's either that or something similar to it. It's like some kind of, it's basically a form of plastic, and they put it in the cookies to keep them that consistency.
Oh.
It's some kind of a chemical that's, I've heard it referred to as a plastic.
If you're looking for cheap bread, you should check out like your local bread stores. Like when I was growing up, we used to go down to the bread store and you could get a garbage bag full of bread for $1 just because it was expiring that week.
Right.
You can freeze it too. So it's way. It's way cheaper. Especially if you've got a freezer. But that's the thing. Like when you're broke and you're poor, sometimes you don't have like means of storage. Like I'm using a mini fridge right now, and so I can't really I have to go to the store like every couple of days.
Oh God, that gotta be.
You got little ones. You're trying to feed your little ones out of a mini fridge.
Mini fridge. I don't have an oven. It's just it's. I have like one of those.
Oh my God.
One of those conventional ovens, but like if you go to the store and you buy a whole ham or a turkey, and you can go ahead and cook that and freeze it or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's way cheaper than if you go in there and you buy like sandwich meat or something like that.
Yeah, no
and
doubt.
It's like stuff like that keeps people from eating better or
absolutely correct.
But,
it's way more expensive.
Stevie, I'm gonna give you a tip. Right. I grew up with, we had a stove, but the oven never worked. And I was like, I want my macaroni and cheese. I made macaroni and cheese on the top range. I even make a chuck roast on the top range, slow cook it.
Yeah.
With peppers and onions and all that stuff.
Yep.
And it is really good.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out
it's
how
really good.
But it's it's an economy. But it's like I don't know. I've never done that before.
How did you
live in West Virginia?
Try it.
If it's not fried,
do you have a cast iron pan? Pan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Use that. You get a chuck roast. You season it. Put a little water in there. Put the range on low. Cover it with aluminum foil. If a pot covers it, then put a pot lid on it.
Aluminum foil.
Let it simmer for like 4 or 5 hours. Man, that thing be breaking away like you made it in the oven.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Yep.
I had to learn how to improvise when I was a kid.
So even us poor folks now, and me in this case, I've got
I was poor growing up, so
right. I got a slow cooker, but boy, you can do an awful lot with aluminum foil. And
that's not healthy. Don't do that.
Well, but you can. They do it on Thanksgiving. They do it for lots and lots of people do it for Thanksgiving.
Well, don't do it too much, okay? Because that's not really good on your neuro.
Well,
the slow
could be that.
Huh?
Trade off.
You said the slow cooker Rebel is not good?
No, aluminum tinting with an aluminum foil.
Like if I had the cash and the space and I would get a big freezer, and I wouldn't bother to buy meat anymore. I would go hunt my meat.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
And venison in a freezer will keep several months, and there's other game, and maybe once in a while I would end up buying some meat, but it wouldn't be, all the time. I have friends who eat venison basically throughout the year. It's not like every day they're eating it, but they eat it once a week or so, and they eat it throughout the year, and that would save so much money if I could do that. So it would save more money if I had fucking a washer and dryer in here.
So much of it.
Drive and go to the goddamn laundromat. I hate it.
Like Stevie was talking, like with going to buy a large bag of bread, and for people that live alone, and I live alone. Rebel was saying it today on Twitter when she put up that nice picture of her breakfast. She was saying it would be nice just once in a while if I could find somebody that could cook for me.
Oh God, I would give
every once in a while. If you could go to a potluck, and we were organized different societally, where we could get together with our neighbors every once in a while, and lots of people still do this. Don't get me wrong, I know that goes on, but those kind of days, like back in the day, it just seemed like people were doing maybe a little bit more of that, or getting together for barbecues or that kind of thing, turn it into a potluck, make it easy on everybody, the economies of scale, depending on how isolated you are and whatnot, we got to find bigger, better ways to get together.
What I'll usually do is I'll take half a day or something, and I'll spend that half a day cooking a bunch of meals and freezing them for the week.
Yeah, another way to do it.
That's good.
That way you've got decent food, you're not tempted to snack or go make some trip to the store just to get some convenient food or whatever.
That is so good. No,
all right there, and it's all stored up. So,
well, you guys are motivating me to look at a lot more of these ideas and whatnot, because I've been kicking myself. I'm sitting here I'm looking at my counter right now, and I know I've got bread yeast over there, and I've been wanting to make bread forever and a day, because I have all these fond memories of back in the day. Well, I spent that entire summer in Alaska, and my aunt made bread, from scratch, made her own bread. And I've got the recipe here. Why don't I just make my own bread? But that kind of thing, I think for some of us, depending on what our niche is, it might not be bread for somebody. It might be whatever your favorite thing is. But take the time to learn that and get into it. It's good for the soul. It's good for your head, and
learn
to talk about it.
There are some foods that will both preserve well, and after you eat just a little bit of them, they're usually satisfying. And I found smoked fish works for me in that sense. Smoked fish will stay good for a while. You always have to make sure it's wrapped up, so it doesn't stink up the place or your refrigerator. But you have a few bites of smoked fish, I'm usually good.
Yeah.
I'm having a few tight months here. And one of the things I'll do is I'll get 2 pounds of pinto beans and cook them up and make some rice with them. And 2 pounds of pinto beans, I flavor it to taste like burritos. And I put it on rice. My daughter can't have any wheat, so we put it on rice instead of putting it in a wrap, and put some sauce on it, and it's really good, really filling, and it's really cheap. So it's $2.
Yes,
and we get for 3 people 4 or 5 days worth of meals out of it.
And you know what that is, and maybe you experts could correct me if I'm wrong, but that actually, when you complement legumes and rice together, you end up with a protein.
Yeah, that's true. No, multiple protein.
Yeah, you end up with a protein, and that's some healthy eating.
It's that's
vegetarian.
It's a perfect and balanced protein as well.
Yeah, it almost sounds like some sort of Indian dish, some kind of.
You see a lot of that in India.
Curry in, and it would taste.
Yep.
And Hispanic.
I'm doing exactly what Snork is doing with beans and rice, but I
does anyone here eat black-eyed peas?
I do.
Oh, I
do. Or red beans. I like red beans and rice. But yeah, no, I cook mine with onions. I cook mine with the thing that I like with pinto beans is cumin. I put cumin in my beans. Love the flavoring.
I use cumin.
You don't put no smoked meat in it?
I do if I have ham. I like ham with that. But no, most of the time, what I'm just trying to do, living on the cheap, thinking, okay, I'm just going to go with the red vegetarian option tonight. I'm just going to go with the rice and beans. And I might put some flavoring in there, but most of the time it's just, all vegetable.
The main thing is that you must have 1 hour boiling.
Yeah, there is that.
There's a toxin in it that you have to kill. It takes 1 hour.
With the pintos?
Even with pintos.
Any beans.
Because I'm probably
What I do.
I'm probably cooking mine about an hour at least just to get them soft to where I like them. But
Well, you need to actually
boil them.
What I do is boil them for an hour, and then I rinse them out, and then I bring it to another boil, and then I take it off the heat, and then I put a tablespoon of baking soda in it, and that brings out all the bad shit, and it actually degasses them. And I leave them overnight like that, and then the next morning I rinse them out, and then I cook them.
Legumes should not be cooked in a slow cooker unless they've been boiled first.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Another thing you can do it's not too expensive, but like depending on the types of fruit that you use. But what you can do is you can get these. You can buy a few different types of fruit, right? Prepare them, slice them up, or whatever. Combine them in whatever proportion you wish. Separate them and freeze them. And then whenever you want, you can just bust them out of the freezer, throw them in a blender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You've got like you're ready to roll, and you've got a fruit juicy. So, and fruit juicy's like really, fruit seems expensive sometimes, but really they kill your hunger and they're good for you. It's worth the money.
Yeah.
You'll spend no more on like that than you would if you got like some kind of Stouffer's lasagna or something.
Right. Tastes good while you're eating
horse lasagna.
Tastes good while you're eating it if you can afford to make it. But
it's cheap though. Like it's not that bad. Like it costs like a couple bucks for a pint of blueberries. Like how much do like it just depends on what you put in there, really. But a lot of cheap fruits.
And I can see that though, because you buy the fruit in season, especially like here in Oregon, you buy fruit in season, and then you freeze it.
Yeah, you and I are blessed to be able to live in the area
in the Northwest, with all the bounty that we have out here. We've got it almost bounty wise or variety wise. We've got it probably better than Snork does with all his food there in Iowa.
Yeah, we don't need the rest of the country. We can.
It's all regional. Like I just got done like picking a bunch of wintergreen the other day, and
oh, nice.
Washed it, dried it out, and I've got my wintergreen tea for the next couple of months. And then it's morel season around here. There's always, this area is crazy. Like you can just fish and hunt. And you can survive off the land.
But isn't that why you chose to go there? No.
No,
I came back here because my mom was dying.
Sorry to hear that. Is it cloudy where you are right now?
Me?
Yes.
Like I'd have to step outside.
There's a geostorm. I can't remember if it's tonight or tomorrow night, but I think it's tonight. If you go out and look up, it's actually supposed to be strong enough to be seen in your latitude.
Right, wow.
Northern Michigan, yeah.
Let me go check it out.
Michigan and Minneapolis.
Hey, Snork, is it happening here in Philly too?
It scoops back up because of your geology there. You're not in the area.
Oh, okay.
But northern Michigan is, and so is Minnesota, northern Minnesota.
Wisconsin would be, yeah.
We've been getting rain every day this week.
Same here in Florida.
2 days in a row, it was 90 degrees, and then all of a sudden today it was cold.
Wow.
I went to bed. Was it last night or the night before? And it was still 80 something in the house, and it was like I had a hard time sleeping.
This weather is crazy.
It is. I've never seen it so weird.
Sunday, my heat came back on.
Really?
And since then, yeah, because it went down in the 50s.
I got my electric bill today, and I had to pat myself on the back a little bit because it was a little cheaper than I thought it was going to be. And that's always a good thing.
My big screen TV gets so warm that all I have to do is turn it on and it heats up my room, and it takes way less electricity than a heater. Just turn it on.
Does it warm your feet up too, there, Rebel? Put your feet
No.
up on the TV?
No, I'm a wimp in my feet. It's like I have to go get those warm.
Yeah, it's pretty clear out, but I'm not seeing anything.
Hey guys, guess what I made one time? I got a recipe for Chick-fil-A chicken, and
No
it
way.
was good. Yeah,
Oh, are you
it
gonna
was
share
good.
with me?
You have to share that, yeah.
You have to Google. You have to Google search it. That's what I did.
Oh, okay.
And the key to the recipe is pickle juice.
Yes.
Nice. Which, sweet or dill?
Dill.
Still, yep.
Eric's
I
leaning
made
in
it.
like,
Yeah,
Breaded
what's
it and
going
stuff.
on?
I had some nice rolls. My husband was like, "Damn, this is good."
You can get a gallon. You can get a gallon of dill pickles. I don't know how much it costs at your stores. At my store, a gallon of dill pickles is about $4.
right. That sounds about right.
You know how healthy it is to just take a swig of that every day? The juice.
Yeah.
But that is the secret ingredient. And most of these restaurants, you could either go to copycat restaurant or copycat recipes, or you can go to top secret recipes and you find almost all of them.
And people call me disgusting for drinking pickle juice.
No.
Oh, I love it.
No, when you got that with that vinegar, man, that's keeping you regular. That's keeping you.
I don't know, you guys. I don't know if I would just drink the juice.
Oh, it's good.
It's good.
Oh, I'm
And
getting it.
plus,
I drank it.
it's a blood purifier.
Probably is good for you. It might be too much for me, though. I like dill pickles, though. And there's a really good recipe that uses mustard seed and dill and beef. It's like an appetizer. I can't remember what it's called, but it's really good.
What did you say you put that with, though? Did you say leaf?
Beef.
Oh, beef. Gotcha. Yeah. No,
but I could eat that like it's an appetizer of some sort, but I could eat it. I could probably eat 20 or 30 of those.
Freaking dillweed, man. Dillweed and basil. I use them a lot.
Ryan.
Tech and garden sound just alike.
No, we don't.
What?
Yes, you do.
Garden has a professionally trained.
You're a racist, Cheryl.
You're a racist. Absolutely.
How am I a racist?
We're just teasing you. I don't think
because you're black.
I know you teasing me.
Oh, it's white folks.
I know you tease me. I'm not getting offended.
Because I'm thinking Cheryl would want to be from Detroit if she could be. Since, were you born there in Michigan, no?
Yeah, I was born in right around Detroit.
Yeah, right. So I was born in Bay City. So back in the day.
I was born in East China Township, which is a little bit south of Port Huron.
Right.
So,
I know where you're at. If Bay City's not that far from Port Huron. When I was looking at the map here a while ago. But I'm thinking,
I have a disclaimer in the comment section that Cheryl's a racist.
What?
We started a
we started a controversy here.
It says Cheryl, Billy Queen, disclaimer, racist comments.
Yep.
Whenever.
Okay, we need to have boots on the ground and protest against Shirley.
Yeah, Cheryl Vick is against frogs. Cheryl Vick does not like frogs.
Because you know how insane that sounded just now? I cannot do that yet. I just
Your mic is blasting, Amanda.
Oh, sorry.
It is, yeah.
I'm just so glad I have the Amish in my city, and they're not far from me, distantly and driving in Lancaster and other parts of Pennsylvania.
That doesn't
But
forgive
I
you
love
for
them to
you.
death.
That doesn't
forgive you for your racist.
You know, the fact that you're against frogs, perpetrated atrocities against frogs. That's just sad.
I like frog
I
legs.
sling blade.
I'll eat 100 frog legs too, by the way.
Oh my god.
I have never had those.
I tried to. I have.
So do you have any pictures? Cheryl, do you have any pictures of you like driving one of those Amish buggies?
No, I don't drive at all.
No, that's racial appropriation.
That's reappropriation.
Yep, cultural appropriation.
I don't drive at all.
You don't
take
drive at all?
public transportation. No. I know how to drive, but I don't want to because people drive crazy today. And we have several incidents with road rage shootings on highways.
Wow.
And there's a lot of shitty things about living in a city, but one of the good things about living in a city is you don't need a car so much.
Yeah.
Like there's public transportation.
Public transportation.
Yep, and there's stuff right around you.
Take you to other counties and things like that. So even in the area I live in, oh my God, I'm close to the bus transportation center, and it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, Cheryl, Scorpio just now gave you a hashtag. It's boycott.
Yeah, boycott.
Cheryl.
Yeah, I thought.
Boycott what?
Boycott, Cheryl.
And he's gonna talk about, I don't care. We don't care if you have a white friend. I have several white friends. That's the term white folks use. I have one black friend.
I had a black college roommate. You know what I mean?
I have a friend that has a beard.
I had a black college roommate for about 5 weeks, so I'm not racist.
I'm not at all racist. I've never killed a frog in my life.
It's like I usually look at him like, well, what the fuck? What do you think that means, or what do you think that?
Well, a lot of these people, like, you can't give them too hard of a time because they're not malicious.
No,
they want to like be friends and they want to understand in most cases. So they're like, yeah, I've got a black friend or whatever, you know. I mean, they end up sounding stupid, but you can't give a lot of these people too hard of a time just because they say something.
But a
like
lot
that.
of them, listen to black music.
Good night, Rainbow.
Night, Rainbow.
Good night, Rainbow.
Good night, Rainbow.
Night, Stevie.
Rainbow didn't say hardly anything. I guess Stevie's gone too.
Night, Stevie.
I was looking at the chat.
Oh, you too. Good night.
But I think a lot of the millennials don't look at race.
Yeah, it's a lot less.
Racism is taught. You're not born waking up saying you hate another color.
Yeah.
At all. It's taught.
I think.
And I always had
Go ahead.
I always had my kids be around other nationalities, and which is great because I went to school with Cambodians, Spanish people, whites, Indians, and Pakistanis.
But Cheryl,
back in the day, but I don't think it's like that now. Huh?
You go to school with frogs, so there's your problem.
All you got to do, you teach kids when they're young, hey, there's people that maybe look a little bit different and they maybe act a little bit different. But guess what? Your friends that are of your same race, they don't act exactly like you, do they? They don't do exactly things like you do. I mean, we're talking about these minor differences and people make such a big fucking deal over them. Now there's a lot of history there, and it's not, there's a lot of history, don't get me wrong.
And we're working back against our own evolution, our own biology. The fact that we have this fight or flight mechanism in our own brains. We get this xenophobic and we get these ideas, if we don't understand something, we're supposed to shun it. We're supposed to push it away. It's only, when we start our critical thinking skills that, we've got to nurture that.
I agree that there probably is a biological component to it. That, like your brain is hardwired that this person is different and your brain reacts in a certain way because of that. But,
no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
I think there's a little bit of
racism is taught.
I think that
is it what?
I think
it's environmental.
I think that there's a little bit of biological racism, but I don't think it's over to the point where it can't, where it will overwhelm environmental conditions.
Right.
Okay, so if you teach somebody that, hey, there's a fucking problem here, they just look a little bit different, maybe they act a little bit different.
Well,
like if you teach people that, then the biological impulse will be like its effects will be lessened greatly on a person. Like they might not even present.
Right. What I was thinking was that, go ahead, Cheryl.
You know what's weird? The area I live in, it used to be all white. It's still whites around here. It's a mixed neighborhood now, but I would get chased out of this neighborhood back in the day.
Yeah.
Because it was all white.
My aunt,
they were stupid.
Who is, my aunt is black, and like her mom got burnt up in a fire and she was alive. This is in like South Carolina in like the 50s, right? And she got burnt up in a fire, and the ambulance, there was two ambulances. There was the white ambulance and the ambulance for black people, right? And the only ambulance that was available at that moment was the ambulance for the white one. Yeah, it was a white one, and they wouldn't come fucking pick her up, and she died.
Oh,
they eventually got her to the hospital, but she died at the hospital.
Oh my God.
But I'm sitting here thinking, going, the biological.
Rebel, don't start crying.
No, she's not. For me, it's like, what is going on inside that head? Those heads. My head. Anybody that's bearing witness to that. What is the thinking going on? Because if you allow yourself to be on autopilot, to let your other senses control what you're doing, and if you're not living in the moment, and making these choices, using your critical thinking skills and making these choices.
Well, some people are.
That's where we run into problems.
They're just taught cultural adherence. They're not taught ethics and morality per se. Like what they learn as they're growing up is cultural adherence. And if the culture says that black people don't go in the white fucking ambulance, then they don't.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just, and if you taught them that children weren't supposed to be transported in ambulances, they wouldn't transport children in ambulances. I mean, people are just.
Well, exceptions are a harder concept, exceptions.
Back in the early 60s.
Well, you have white and color fountains.
Yeah.
Back in the early 60s here in this town, the hospital is run by the Catholic Church. One of my grandfathers went in for a heart attack and was denied oxygen because he wasn't Catholic.
Oh, yeah, religion steps in there too.
Yeah, you talk about a repressive element, religion. Oh my
I think religion is also the thing that that causes some racism as well.
Do you think?
It fucking pisses me off.
But are those priests, when they're molesting whoever it is that they're molesting, are they making those choices based on race or not?
Well, we talk, like Ebon talks about the Masonic lodges and all that. And one of the reasons that some of these Masonic lodges were forced underground is because they would accept people of all religions and all races. And that, that was unacceptable.
Wow. I think those Masonic lodges are a cult and the Eastern Star.
Oh,
I
they're
really
worse
do.
than just a cult. They're like the occult. When you go up high into the level of
And they have to spend so much money having parties and stuff to move up. My father was a Mason.
But how
and he stopped.
How tolerant, you know, as a people, as a person, individual, you know, as a society, if, you know, we espouse ideas like freedom and those kinds of things, how far are we willing to go to allow those differences of opinion, those different ways to worship, different ways to view the world, different ways to cook your food, you know, whatever it is? I mean, what is the value? And then, you know, what are the, because it is as complicated as what I'm trying to make it out to be. And that's at the level that our sophistication has to go to in order to deal with so much of this.
Well, you know, if you have a well-informed population, like, you know, it doesn't really even matter if they're religious or not. If you have a well-informed population, well-educated population, more often than not, they're going to make rational decisions. Even if they're like super religious, you know, so the key, it's when you combine religion and ignorance that the problems come up.
Yeah.
I hate religion with the
that's that power thing. That's that power thing sitting there, because normally it's religion in the power position.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Christians can be very scary. That's all I have to say.
Oh,
you think they're the sweetest people? Yeah. They could be the fucking worst.
Yeah.
They can.
It's
because my grandmother stopped going to church. My grandmother was a devout church goer. She didn't miss services. She would testify. The reverend had to tell her to be quiet because she did it too long. And one time, I said, Grandma, why you stop going to church? She said, because church changed. And she said that before she died.
And see, that's what drove me away from the church. Well,
it's not the same anymore.
The church and all religions, they can just fuck off for all I care.
It's just like any other human institution. Like, it's got its good points and its bad points. Religion does help a lot of people.
It does.
And because of the nature of human history, a lot of our religion, a lot of our knowledge has been passed down through religious institutions of various sorts, like whether we're talking about insights into philosophy or even science. A lot of these things have been passed down.
Oral history.
Okay, like religion in the modern world, like, of course it still makes sense because humans are humans. Like, death is a scary thing. Like, you don't want to believe that, like, your family members have disappeared in the void,
right,
etc.
If that's going towards, you know, reinforcing stereotypes and xenophobia and those kind of things, where it's somebody dictating, like, let's say within that church structure, which is what so much of this comes down, you know, with these televangelists or, you know, whoever it is dictating, you know, that to me is where it becomes a problem.
But my thing is, they keeping politics out of church, because politics affects all our lives, the decisions they make in Washington.
Right.
Yeah, and I'll tell
Martin
you what.
Luther King was on the pulpit talking about politics.
And rightly so, because I think politics in so many ways reflects, you know, in a better way, if we have a way to understand each other. You know, politics is that interaction. That's all that it is. You know, religion is a philosophical extension of our souls. You know, that's why, you know, I say, yeah, I got driven away from Christianity, but it was like my mind was, you know, and I was growing into my adult mind, and I was thinking philosophically, well, what makes sense for me, you know? And I got into a more of a spiritualist bent. But when you have to go into these situations where it's either or instead of both and, or some mixture of it, that again leads into complexity and the fact that then at that point we have got to use our communication skills to try and understand each other better. You know, that's where these, and if we stop using our communication skills, then we run into problems. So.
Well, after Martin Luther King and all that, the Democratic Party started to go in and straight up co-opt black churches. They would get like,
oh yeah,
yeah.
They turned against MLK, and I believe John Lewis was part of it. He turned on him.
Oh man, you
when
talk
he was talking about that Vietnam War.
I remember when they did that faux. It was a couple years, maybe. I think it was sometime in 2017. They had that faux. No, it was before Trump, so it would have been in 2016 probably. They had that faux like shutdown of the Congress. And
they ordered lunch and
right
caviar and everything.
They ordered that food in, you know, and they were all there at the front, and you know, John Lewis was guiding them like he was the new MLK, and I was just going, what a bunch of treacherous kabuki bullshit.
No, when he said that he didn't see John Lewis at the civil rights movement, he saw Bill and Hillary Clinton. I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Right.
There's a difference between talking about social issues from the pulpit and pushing politics from the pulpit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a definite difference between those things. And then Martin Luther King Jr., he talked about issues. Right. A lot of these other people went around pushing specific candidates and specific agendas and trying to get people to vote a certain way. That's a fucking different story, and you shouldn't be doing that.
Right. Because if you're lifting everybody as opposed to somebody, and you've got like this power agenda in mind, yeah, that's when it's getting a little bit hokey as to. You know.
Well, it's just exploiting people again. Like, you know, like you got a community who's been pissed on, you've got a community that's broke, and you go around and you push this shit on them like it's
and you push them even more, and then the ignorance of those people at the top thinking there's not going to ever be any blowback.
You're not trying to get them to do things that are in their own interest, which is something that they desperately need. Like you're trying to get them.
No, they just keep telling them the Lord is all you got to do is keep praying. The Lord going to give it to you. And the pastor is riding around in an expensive car, living in a home in the suburbs, a mansion.
Yep.
Oh, you have no idea how that. Yeah. You have no idea how much that triggers me.
Pushing that separatist ideology.
It's like they lecture and preach propaganda just so they could benefit their own pockets instead of, you know, going out and actually doing something with the community and actually fucking.
Because aren't we all in it together? You know.
Yes.
Can't we just like all break bread together?
Good luck with that. People are so fucking uptight.
Scorpio was saying I'm criticizing a black man.
What's that?
We know where you're at, Cheryl. We know that you hate frogs.
But what my thing is, like, when the hurricane hit Houston, and what's that pastor name? Oh God,
Benny.
No, not Benny. In Houston.
Is it like the
Joel Osteen?
Even Ryan
would not open his church.
Even Ryan knows who Benny Hinn is. Oh my God.
Who doesn't?
Did you see when he baptized Holyfield? That shit was funny.
What's that?
What, Joel?
You didn't see what that guy no, not Joel, but Benny, the other pastor Ryan was talking about.
Yeah.
Benny Hinn.
He not baptized him, but he prayed on Evander Holyfield, had his hand up to his head, and Holyfield passed out on the floor. I'm like, look at this crap.
Yeah, Holyfield's off the hook with that stuff. Isn't that crazy? Like, and he's, as far as I remember, he's always been that way. Like, when he got his ear bit off, I think he was like super hardcore Christian.
He literally bit off?
Yeah, Mike Tyson bit his ear off.
Bit off. You didn't see it?
No.
Find it on YouTube. Tyson like ripped his ear off and spit it on the.
Yeah, when they were fighting. Yeah.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
And he had to get his stone back on.
But
well, go to Benny. He'll hook you up with a new ear, I'm sure.
Right, but that's not the point of that. The point of that story, I think, is the fact that Holyfield could be so into the fake fact that he's not gonna levitate. I mean, there's no way Benny Hinn can levitate that guy or cast out of that guy.
My question is how much money did Benny make off of Evander?
Right.
That's a guy.
Either way,
gold mine right there.
If Senk could have done that, Senk could be doing that stuff.
Man, when I was when I was listening to Benny Hinn and he was telling this big congregation how he was the Holy Spirit and that the breath of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, he blows on people.
So do I, but not in that way.
And we have a church here called Enon Baptist Church. I think that church is like a cult.
Oh, they're on the web, yes.
Is this the one where Evander goes to the floor or what?
No, this is Bangkok.
This is what I was raised in.
No, I've been around that. Yeah.
Just fucked my head. I mean, brother, I had this, and then I had the Wiccan, and then I had synagogue. That's what I've been raised with.
You guys know about the Holiness Church, right? Or Signs Following Church, the snake handlers.
Right.
Like, have you ever watched one of their services? I didn't watch one in person, but I watched it on a video. And it's completely fucking crazy.
Do they have snakes biting them?
I have to laugh with you on
it's a fucking
church.
insane. So, I was driving.
Wait a minute.
I was driving through Kentucky, and I saw one of the Signs Following churches. So I'm like, but there was no one there, of course. It was the middle of an afternoon on a weekday. But I stopped, and I went around back, and just because I was walking around, and I took a couple of pictures. And they had these little pens in the back. Now the pens were empty, but I can imagine that that's what they fucking put the damn snakes in, man. They have I don't know how many snakes that they bring in for one of those services, but it's a lot.
It's a lot.
And people just they openly provoke these snakes. They drink arsenic. They provoke the snakes to bite them.
Nice snake, Eric.
They basically do the full crocodile or no
crocodile.
The snake crocodile church. Oh my god!
The guy in Australia that used to poke on the cobras.
Crocodile Dundee. I mean, no, crocodile. No, alligator.
Crocodile hunter.
Oh shit! Yes.
Crocodile hunter. Exactly.
Raise the snake.
Leave it to a younger mind.
I wish you guys could look up this church here in Philadelphia called Enon Baptist Church. It's spelled E-N-O-N. Baptist Church. My daughter was trying to join there at one time, and it's 4 different things you had to go through to be able to become a member. And the last one was, we need to see your W-2.
Yeah, there we go.
She's like, huh?
How much
and she said she left and she never went back. She said they kept calling her and calling her and calling her. They wanted to see how much tithes they could take out her salary.
Yep.
And also they got valet parking.
What is it?
ATM.
It's like
they have valet parking in this church.
Our big pastor's Casey Treat, the Christian Faith
He's
Center.
Still around? Oh my god.
We have 5 sister churches in our area alone.
Well, you know what the most unbelievable one is that's still around is Ted Haggard.
I've heard that name.
Ted Haggard was the one who was doing meth like with gay prostitutes in a hotel room, and he would do this kind of shit all the time. He got caught doing some other shit too. I can't remember what it was. But.
I thought that was so hypocritically sick.
But he still has a church rolling, and he's still he's able to survive off of it.
We'll have to talk about Casey Treat sometime, Rebel. Maybe you could fill me in, because I know that name, and my sister lives there, and they used to go to his church.
Oh, stay away from it.
Oh, I just know it peripherally from them, but yeah.
See, that is the last church that I went to, and oh my God, it was just, I mean, they even spanked my 2-year-old little daughter for not getting, they thought it was in their right to spank my own daughter just because she was spacing out and not singing.
That's like fucked up. Like,
Eric, but
And I was too young to figure out that I should have probably sued them.
If they laid a hand on me, my mom would beat the fuck out of them. She wouldn't give a flying fuck. I'd be like, "You're going," and she'll be like, "You're going to fucking hell for hitting my fucking child. Who do you have the fucking right?"
Well, I was wondering why she was having a hard time, going into the room, and it's like I'd go in there and I'd sit there with her until she was calm, and then I'd leave, and then it was like we'd go through this every Sunday, and I was like,
"Wow,
something's wrong here." And
you'd come back and she'd be freaked out.
Yeah, and finally, I talked to the teacher, the Sunday school teacher, and found out, she has a behavior problem, and we need to talk about that. And then that's when they said it's because she spaced out, and that was a behavior problem. And so we just give her a paddle just to get her to
focus.
I was pissed.
Comply. It's called compliance.
You know what? I would be so if I had a child and knowing that shit happened, I'd be like, you know what? I'll treat you like, you know what? I'd be like, Jesus shouldn't have been on the cross. You should be on the fucking cross for hitting my fucking child.
I wiped her. I actually wiped her desk off. Everything was just.
I think we have achieved Eric triggeredness.
Have you ever heard of a church with an ATM machine in there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, and they have a.
Yeah, church I was telling you about.
That church in Philly's got an ATM machine?
Oh, yes, it does. Valet parking, and an ATM machine.
And Starbucks at the altar?
And I remember a comedian on Def Comedy Jam, which used to come on. I think it was Ari Spears. He said, they had some detective. He said, "What's the problem? You got a weapons problem in the church?" He said, "No, the pastor just doesn't like change." And then when I heard they had an ATM machine, I said, "He doesn't like change."
And by change, it means like anything under a $50 bill.
Right. No nickels and dimes here. No nickels and dimes.
Casey Treat's church has an ATM and valet parking and an espresso restaurant.
Espresso restaurant. Exactly.
Oh my fucking God!
That's
really?
They need to be taxed. They need to pay taxes.
Oh fuck!
Because that's a business.
You know that's got to be why a lot of them are in that business. It's because they save on the tax. They call themselves a religion.
Yeah.
And they capitalize off of people's emotions with propaganda.
Oh God, they're going to promise them the hereafter. What bigger payoff, Eric?
What they should do is they should tax them, right? Maybe there's a special tax for these or really they should just tax them normally and then allow religious institutions to take special exemptions based on what they do.
Yeah, 'cause
I think
if they're philanthropic,
the large churches should be taxed. The really large ones, like these small neighborhood churches, these don't bother them. But these big churches, they need to be taxed because that's a business.
Fuck yeah.
The multi-million-dollar juggernauts that, like Joyce Myers and Benny Hinn and that
Jim Baker, Tammy Faye Baker back in the day.
Yeah, but
remember Reverend Ike?
There's a black dude that what's his name?
Creflo Dollar?
That's it.
He asked his church to help him get a jet.
Yeah.
Did he get the jet? Did he get the jet? I want to know.
Jet?
The jet?
A fucking jet? Jesus.
Because he didn't want to be flying first class anymore.
Because he needs he needs an Airstream.
He didn't ask them for a jet. He asked them for a second top of the line jet.
Oh my God, that's
not
like
one.
ungrateful fucking shit. Jesus Christ.
A top of the line jet.
He had one.
Sorry.
That Bill Gates would have been jealous of, and he caught a lot of flack for it. So he went to his congregations and said, "You're going to let them give me flack for buying a plane to serve God?" And he goes, "Get me another plane." The donations just flew in, and he got another plane.
Oh my
God! I'm like, you know what? I would just tell him, you know what? Go ask God. God has plenty of money. Apparently, you want to fucking ask him for money. And I would just say that to piss him off and offend him because he's a lecturer. The guy who fucking like purchased goddamn. I was like, you know what? These motherfuckers, like, if there is a hell, they're going to hell in a handbasket, big time.
And with the rise of YouTube and like these other forms of media, we're seeing like a new type of televangelism that's based around social issues rather than religious issues or whatever. And that's why I'm always saying that, TYT is a neo-televangelist organization.
Oh, fuck
that's
yeah.
the same model.
Neoconish,
like
neoliberalish,
like they just ask for money, and no matter what they like, despite their past performance, there seems to be a certain amount of people that will just give them money, like no matter what they do. And like you see the same phenomenon with these preachers, a second jet, like or you're having sex with a gay prostitute in a hotel room, and like you're still making money after that. I mean,
but
once you reach a wide enough audience, like you'll have a certain percentage of people, it seems, that will just keep giving you money, keep supporting you.
The relationship though between the people that are asking for the money, taking the money, scamming the money versus the people that are given the money, it does give those people like known roles, and if you're satisfied with being in an institution or a situation where you're okay with that, I guess I'm okay with the idea of that relationship, but I don't see myself as like my be all end all. I'm not a money guy, but if the whole thing is based on a relationship of money and it gives you like known hierarchy to where what to expect and whatnot, if you get into the mindset, and I think a lot of Americans are in that mindset where my place is giving money and the only thing that I know is to give money, and that validates your self-worth or whatnot. I mean, that psychological component, that relationship there, to me is very interesting, and I'm going to myself, that power tripping whole thing, it's based on the wrong values as far as I'm concerned, but it does indeed flesh out why maybe a lot of people are like, hey, I know my role. My role is to give money. If I continue to give money, I know my role. I've got this place. I'm assured my place. I can buy my way into heaven.
Well, it helps it helps to, relieve people's anxieties, no matter whether they're anxieties about themselves, like guilt, or anxieties about society, like
self-worth.
But it can be either or, right? It can be self-worth, or it can be you're trying to resolve your anxieties about an external problem.
Or some of those preachers.
You give this money, and you think that you're doing something, like it relieves your anxiety.
Yep.
So
it's enough.
Some of those preachers, they brainwash people into thinking that if they pay money, that a lot of their illnesses will go away too.
Well, that was what Benny Hinn was doing in that video.
South Park made fun of that. There was Cartman ran a church, of just kids only, and they built it, and they put the dollar in the boxer, put a single dollar in a box, But this was in the second episode, because they were taking religion seriously.
Oh my God. I'm getting this really nice buzz right now.